Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Steel Chair, where at the moment it is myself, but Eilidh should be here very, very shortly. Like most of the issues that happen with the Steel Chair, which is just connection mostly, Eilidh's is down, but she should be here very, very shortly. And we are going to be straight up. You're looking at about 3 hours tonight. You're looking at roughly a 3-hour stream. We have 2 pay-per-views to get through. We have TV changes to discuss. We have potential returns to discuss. We have potential role changes to go through, and so forth. So hopefully my counterpart of the YouTube era and the YouTube fandom should be here very, very shortly. So in the process of being, I'm just going to ask, how is everybody doing? How are we all? Are you all doing well? Are you all having fun? Let me know in the chat. How are we all, everybody? Let's get this going. And he's shite. Always. I'm always going to be honest. But good to see you, Mick. Good to see you. This is going to be quite the show, and it is titled for 2 pay-per-views. The banner says versus. I'm eager to see what people's opinions on it are and what people think about what we saw between 2 different events. Yeah, probably. To be honest, see out of the 2 Clown Brothers, he is the better one. He's actually the one that can work. He's the one that's got a proper promo. So we'll see. I would rather Jimmy Uso do anything than Jay, but I don't particularly care for both, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I can see that happening. In all honesty, I can genuinely see that happening. I will watch as much SmackDown as I can, but to be honest, there's something else on that's got my interest that I'll be watching more, but I'll try and see it. If not, I'll be watching SmackDown highlights tomorrow, to be honest. Because I'll be watching a pay-per-view tonight, so that's what I'll be doing. But I'll see if I can keep up with SmackDown. I can't guarantee much. But hey ho, especially if I've got to review it all, it's gonna be fun. Review all that. Yes, he will. My counterpart should be here very soon. Yeah, I just watch off my PTV. Check. That's the 5 of them. Okay, I got both of that. Hey, there she is.
You good, Karen?
Yep, she's carrying something.
Right.
I'm assuming that's a tag title.
It's the tag title, yeah.
I see, so she is 100% going controversial.
What do you mean? What's controversial about tag title?
It would have been great if it was a good tag title.
Well, it's the one I've got. I have the IC title downstairs, but that's the toy version of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm guessing that all you've done so far probably is just set the scene.
Yeah, I've just said hello to folk, and just that it's going to be. I've already told people in advance this is going to be about 3 hours, which has been a long time since we've done a 3-hour stream.
Oh, you'd be going back at least 2 years, I think, to when we first started, and we realised, we can go forever, but people might not want us to. But tonight there is good reason to. I'm around for 2 of the shows. As soon as you start talking about that bingo hall stuff, I'll be away. So we're here to discuss. I don't know which one you're doing first, because based on the thumbnail, you'll be dealing with All Out first. But based on chronology,
We are doing it
Berlin.
based on chronology, but I also think just because the social media discourse is constantly one to the other to the next, I've just done it as just random as who cares a fuck. I'm just putting one in the thumbnail and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it kind of fits.
I've arrived for a fight tonight, by the way. Like, based on what I think you're going to say, I've arrived for a fight. You know,
is that what you think you know what I'm going to say?
You don't put gear on like this if you're just doing a house show. Let's put it that way. So sparks are going to fly tonight because I've got stuff to say. You'll know what company by now I've got the stuff to say about. But first, we're going to be happy. And we're going to talk about Berlin. Happy in a sense.
We are going to be happy?
Right, okay. So what I left with from
on
Berlin
both sides.
as an overall vibe for Bash in Berlin, it was the most house show European PLE they've done. That's what I'll say for it. It felt like a house show. Now, it was a good house show, but even the Punk Drew match, it feels like something you would put on a house show to like draw sales and get tickets and stuff.
Yeah, very expensive house show, and that's something that I'm also going to seriously question tonight as well, because this kind of ties into something because we're not just going to be talking the actual event. We're going to be talking a few things that have come out post that show that actually really have quite my own like concerns, and this is just something totally different. But yeah, so it's let's see, it's 5 versus 7 because it's only main show we're discussing, of course. So it's 5 versus 7, which I actually think is more moderate. Thankfully. Right. But we are going to start with, as you said, the expensive house show in our circular view now, because it's much better than square.
Yeah.
So I'm just
I should have asked, actually, do you want me to try and log into TikTok and get this streaming on mine, or are we all good?
You have, because the link I've sent you the link, so you can stream to your own YouTube.
Yeah,
you can stream to YouTube.
It's saying I can like log in StreamYard and get a stream going. I was like, I don't know if it lets you, if it lets multiple people stream something at the same time, but we could get it out to the following.
On StreamYard, it gives you an invite option where you allow people to invite them to your guests. Like you can invite guests, and on that it gives you an option where it says guests can stream to their own destinations.
Right. Okay. Because literally, I've just read that at the top there that says stream this to your audience. I was like, well, no.
Yeah.
But maybe it works.
Yeah, you can. You can stream to every platform you're connected to. You can stream to.
And if it does, this will be the one time that I'll mention it. I hit 1,000 followers on TikTok yesterday.
Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, it's been going well. Tell me about updates and stuff.
I could add this to Facebook. I could add this to Instagram. Like, do all of that. Probably get it around. Okay. Oh, she's bolted. I'm assuming she's coming back. I'm thinking it's because of our platforms, but we'll see. There we go.
Okay, it despawned me to do it, which is fun.
You all set on yours?
Yeah, should be.
You'll have all the view on it as well. So any comments that come through, we'll bring them up from your side as well, because it should show from the StreamYard.
Yeah, let's see if that works. Let's say anyway. So we've got Berlin ongoing here. I'll just put weekly.
Yeah, I'm gonna just hide I'm gonna hide the bollocks on the side. Next stream we do, I'll probably include the likes of Facebook and Instagram, because to be fair, I might stick with StreamYard for a wee while, even though StreamYard are robbing bastards. So StreamYard, don't cancel us.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
45 quid is an absolute pencil neck. Like, absolute disgrace. It's 10 quid. It's 10 quid more than my bloody car insurance. Road tax, I should say.
Right. Anyway, so let's talk about now that we should be live on both sides and see what's happening.
We should be.
We
yes.
have ourselves the first match: Cody Rhodes up against Kevin Owens. Now, when you talk about house show,
fair play to Connor.
This wasn't really a feud. Like it was nice for Cody to offer Kevin the shot, and it was a good match, but it lacked the fire that Cody's feuds have had. I mean, even for how lackluster the match with Solo was, at least there was heat there. There was a reason for it. I think they tried to add a lot of intrigue into this match when you knew it wasn't going to happen. For Kevin Owens to like turn heel.
Mm-hmm.
I think it did well to not do what they did with Will Ospreay All In. That's All In I'm talking about, so I'm not jumping to later's show. And more importantly, what they were building to for All In, which was Will Ospreay didn't want to do it. Kevin Owens didn't want to do it, but he quickly decided he wasn't going to do it. But I agree here with Connor. It did sort of feel heatless, and it was a good match, but it seemed to be a good match for a good match's sake. I think both are really good in the ring, but yeah.
It did have a good match feel until I want to say the last 10 minutes.
Well, that's when they were really hamming up.
That's when it went from a match to just, as people complain about in other areas, it just became a complete finisher fest. And
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They were ramping it up, and they were like, "Is Kevin Owens going to turn heel?" I feel like they were maybe going a bit quickly, but when you look at the other world title match on the card, they knew they had to go quickly. They couldn't do a technical wrestling match because the main event was going to be one of those.
I think they could have had a more pacier technical match, like in terms of like the variety. I don't think it should have been. I think it got a fair amount of time. I think when you look at what they've got in contrast, my only thing is though is it took away all the amount of times where they were constantly doing finishing maneuvers. They could have had more of just the technical side, as we said. I actually think it would have done better if it just ended on the one side, cancelling each other out, and then one lands instead of, oh, here's 5 or 6. We don't need that, you know? But it was, and I'll say this because I'm saying it's going to come across as agenda because I hate Cody Rhodes. I do. But, like, what I will say, though, in fairness, is this was absolutely not the worst match in the show. It absolutely wasn't. I just didn't like that they overdone the finishers. There was no need. What they did at least do, though, was they at least prolonged the inevitability that we are going to get the Kevin Owens heel turn. Is it going to happen? Is it likely going to be tonight? Could it be later? We'll find out. But I think the sense of it being, though, is they could have done the last 10 minutes a little bit more differently to what was actually delivered on a very expensive house show. So much expensive. Really, some of the prices I was seeing was making me sick, but again, crowds are going to enjoy it, and that's the end of the day. Fuck me, I ain't spending that amount of money for a ticket. I wouldn't do that. It's just horrible.
No, but to be fair, that's what put me off Clash in Glasgow. I didn't feel like there was anything worth actually seeing. For that amount of money. And I think, these shows in Europe, they sell. They've got really sort of high... Yeah, basically.
That's true.
They've got really sort of high thresholds for selling the tickets, but they know that they're going to sell them because it's not like being in America where they do these shows all the time. Mm-hmm. This is, like they were coming over to Germany. This is basically Germany and the fans and the European fans sort of treat it as a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
obviously they've been to Europe 3 times this year, so you would think, oh, maybe the novelty's dying down. But, we know people that still went over to Germany. We know people that went over to France, despite them coming to the UK. I'm not sure if that would be mirrored in America. I'm not sure if you would go the next state over to see a WWE event if they'd been to your town before. I don't know if you would go and see it live, but maybe the pricing is completely different.
I would like to know that as well, because I think that's a very interesting question. But we know the green shirt guy always does. Like he always appears, because that guy is just insane when it comes to front row shows. I mean, dude, give it a break. Like, dude, give it a break. Spend your money on your kid, for fuck's sake. But if you've got any. But the end being result though is, for the show, it did at least get a vibrant start. I just think it could have been a little bit better, but I will reiterate, it wasn't the worst match on the card, because the worst match on the card is what followed. And that was nice in the nicest way possible. It was watching 3 horseshit talents and one world-class talent.
They failed to make these belts matter, and it's really sad, because if you put together, and we've had this conversation, but if you put together Raw and SmackDown and NXT, and you put all the women together, you've easily got enough for a tag. Yeah,
not bad.
So
not bad, and that confirms our point from Connor, who's sums up himself. Like, that's exactly what we want to know. So thanks, Connor, for confirming it.
That's really handy. Thanks for that. But yeah, I think it's really sad that they can't make these belts work. I think it's disappointing. It's disappointing because women's wrestling has gotten a lot better, but I feel like introducing the belts is jumping the shark, or was jumping the shark when they did it, because they didn't have enough teams.
They introduced the wrong title as well.
Yeah.
That Elimination Chamber, in my opinion, should have been for a mid-card singles title.
You all right, Billy?
2018. What's up, Billy Neighbours? Hope you're doing good, mate.
Hope you're doing nice. Yeah, no, there should. I think
it's Billy. He's all right.
You'd care more about the women's sort of mid-card if there was just a single women's mid-card title.
To reiterate as well, because I'm in a group chat with Billy on Twitter, he hated Bash in Berlin.
I thought it was all right. There isn't anything worth ranting and raving about for being incredible. But there also wasn't anything that is staying... Like, there's nothing rent-free in my head. We'll get on to what's rent-free in my head later.
True. What is it about Belair that you don't like, Connor? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Bianca Belair, but I will admit that she is a world-class talent. There's actually something very, very annoyingly common about every single Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill match, and I wonder if you figured it out. Because I saw it after the second match. It's quite easy now. Like, the formula of the match is really, really annoying. But they are going to get to a feud, but it's going to be a very, very long time. It's going to be a long time. You can. That's because you're a good guy.
You've not missed much at all.
Hold on. Remember, there's only one means to do it. Say his name and he'll appear.
Of course.
And
you've not missed much.
He is probably going to lose
much
tonight.
Yes. That bingo hall stuff.
It won't be. It's got a decent crowd. I'd have paid Fowls to fly there and watch it if I'd been viewing. Yeah.
Probably more than AEW Dynamite's been drawn recently, but that's besides the point.
It's not really the aim goal. She's a great talent. There's nothing new with her match in and out. The promo work is shit, and the character itself has been done so often before.
See, here's the thing. The character's been done so often before, but it would easily work. Like, it would work. Because if you think about it, Bianca Belair could easily have the personality of a heel Sasha Banks, but work better than her.
I've said it for a long time.
Bianca Belair is better in the ring. I mean, she's certainly better in the ring now than what Sasha Banks is now. She's on par with a peak Sasha Banks in terms of in the ring. And
controversial.
Character-wise, they've stuck her with Jade Cargill, who needs to be managed and needs to not talk. And the problem is, Bianca's sort of got to try and lead all these feuds, and she can't do it because Jade Cargill is still quite green, and they're getting put against people that, and it is really sad to say, the American audience don't give a flying about the unholy union. They don't care. Listen to the mentor. Listen to the mentor on this show. You could argue Germany didn't care.
No, they absolutely didn't.
No one cares, and it's so sad because I really like Alba Fire. I think Eilidh Dawn's great. But these are two women who could easily, why were they called up? Why? Just leave them in NXT. NXT's women's division is so good. But if you, right now you've got Kalani Jordan as the women's North American champion.
Yeah.
But Kaylee Ray is a better worker.
She's
so
excellent.
imagine these two down in NXT. And they could be mid-card or they could challenge for the main event. Roxanne Perez versus Kaylee Ray, or Alba Fire, if you want to keep the name. Eilidh Dawn getting involved. They don't have to be doing this tag stuff.
That's true.
That is just nothing. And then they put them up against Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville and the third one, Zoe Stark. And it's just miserable. It's just absolutely miserable what they've done to these two since calling them up. It's another example of WWE taking someone before they were ready and just going, well, that plugs a gap, so let's bring them up. You didn't need them. You didn't even need Tegan Knox when you took her 3 years ago or 2 years ago. It's just a joke.
And look at Kiana James, who apparently it's an ankle injury. When if you really use your eyes and you look at her Instagram, she's had her tits done. She ain't got an ankle injury. She's had her chest amplified.
It helped Charlotte until it didn't.
No, yeah, true. That was explosive.
It helped and then it didn't.
Exactly. That was explosive. But
what blows up must come down.
Yeah, like Charlotte's career. But her name helped her especially. But you're right, the look certainly added more to
Vince
image.
Didn't care until she went and got that done. And you can see it because of the NXT. You see her in NXT and then you see her on the main roster. You're like, something's changed about Charlotte. It's the hair. The hair's changed.
You just know that Vince was like, yes.
They weren't even leaning into her being Rick's until not long before the call up. They would sort of mention it in passing, but they were just calling her Charlotte.
But she also had the title match against Natalia, remember? And it was Brett and Flair at ringside.
Yeah, so they'll do it they'll do it to piss in Bret Hart's chips. That's about it.
No, she ain't. I'm sorry, but no.
Charlotte is a good wrestler, but the thing is, just bin these titles already. And I think what's more annoying is they put them on these pay-per-view or PLE cards to be the title change, and it is such a cop-out. People go to these shows and they want to see a title change because they want to see something change. They want to be there for a moment happening and say, I was there when that title change happened. The title change they want to be there for is not the women's tag team titles that they just throw on the events.
This is the title I've been crying out for years, Billy.
I'd probably go with the women's US title, personally. I just think the design would be better.
I would have both. I know it sounds a bit mad, but I'd have both, one for each brand.
Go with the old WCW one.
Television title.
Yeah.
Would that
do that?
Both multi-brand. Do NXT as well?
It would make sense. Why don't they have a TV title that's multi-brand and then have a US or IC title that's main roster? Because you've still got about 60 women in WWE.
If you look at it, they don't think like us. They don't think logically.
Yeah. Well, you must have at least 50 women across the three brands. NXT creates a new one every week, and then the main roster have about 30.
This is why I don't agree with the NXT North American title, because me personally, I would replace. I think Kalani Jordan's doing well, by the way. I'm not discouraging her in any way. I would just replace her title with the WWE television title, and I would have it across NXT Level Up, although I don't really watch it, Raw and SmackDown, and it's
Imagine
there.
a belt changing hands on NXT Level Up. Like, imagine you missed an episode of NXT Level Up, and you come back to it. It's like Braun Breaker is not IC champion anymore. It's Tank's IC champion.
It would be funny, but this is why I don't understand why they've gone with the whole speed route. When ideally you could have just done. You don't need that speed thing. Just bring out the one that actually matters most. It would be much more interesting to have a mid-card championship. And to be fair, I agree. Like, if they had brought out a mid-card like IC or US title, and then you had the TV title across multiple brands, it gives multiple opportunities. It allows talent that were... The biggest trick they're missing is the IC title has always been used as the working title. The biggest trick right there is they could have handed that title to Shayna Baszler and she would have had it already established by now.
Billy's saying that so women's tag matches don't really work. No, I get it. The problem is the reason that women's tag matches are done.
They're always speed.
They're done because they want the women to be on the show. They want the women to matter to the show because that's important for the optics.
Yes.
But the problem is they've got so many women that they can't focus on a single feud. When they focus on a single feud, it's amazing. It's also usually for one of the women's world titles. That's correct. We see those. The rest of the women then just have to be in the show. And this is why I don't watch Raw every week or SmackDown every week. Because you'll get a section that's either a women's tag match or women's six, like a women's six women match, we'll say. I was like, a women's six man? That doesn't make sense. But
it's one of the two.
Like a 6 women match, a 3-on-3, and I don't care because the outcome of it is pointless. Even when they were involving the women's champion, when Bayley had to deal with damage control and she was getting random friends every week. That's the other thing. It's completely random. Their friends are completely random. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill were put together for reasons that we know, but it's completely random. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, what do they talk about?
Nothing.
Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey at least had the MMA connection. I guess that's kind of what they're going for with Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville. Then where does Zoe Stark come into it?
Who's the bigger lesbian?
Why was Natalia pals with Tegan Knox? Why was Natalia pals with left, right, and centre? Why was Tamina a tag partner of anybody?
Except Nia Jax, which makes more sense.
But there's so many times they've just taken someone and gone, and it'll work. It'll work once, maybe twice. Yeah, absolutely. But it'll work once or maybe twice.
Hold on. I would like to add one other tag team who I am an advocate for because I really do rate them. Kaden Carter and Katana James are a fantastic tag team as well.
The KC Express, but they probably go by something else now. Yeah, no, I like them.
Well, they're just by their names in general.
Kaden Carter and I about to say Casey Catanzaro.
I would also like, if it hadn't been Shayna Baszler, I would advocate for Mia Yim as well. She's really good, and she's finally getting the TV time she deserves. To be honest.
Well, that's the thing. There's so many options for who could be the IC champion, but they've had like 2, maybe 3 of these freak alignments that have worked. You can't really count Sasha and Bayley because they're
long-time friends.
So I only count one of them, which is Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. It is the only one that they've randomly put together that worked and felt like a thing and felt like it was there to stay. And if Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were having a feud with someone, you'd be like, well, I can see why those two are friends. because they built up the chemistry and they built up the character. Every other tag team that's worked, the Kabuki Warriors, they had history. The Iconics, they had history.
Yep.
Obviously, Boss and Hug, they had history. Becky and Charlotte, well, they had history. So, of course, that worked. Yeah. If you look at them recently... Oh, and the KC Express are fine, but they had history in NXT. So they've been built there.
I think they really missed the trick.
Random pairings they put together is just dumb.
I stand by this, and I think this is the biggest problem with wrestling in general today. Back in like I know I'm going to sound like old school, but it's just I use all old school references for a reason. Like back in the day, if you were in a tag team, you were traveling with your tag partner. Like they were like your road buddy. They were your tag partner. You would travel with your tag partner until you split. So you're always going to be like one is going to be the driver or the designated one. The other one's going to be making sure you've got your hotel bookings or where you're staying, your accommodation, and it's vice versa. You would rotate. I don't think you've got that anymore, and I think that's why there's no genuine teams because no one's linking in well. And I say this, the performance center isn't helping either because I don't think anyone's actually using it for that exact purpose as well. So even on the road,
they're not building like team chemistry. So it's just like individuals that go out there. It's like the old thing in football, you know, you can't win a football match if you've got a team of individuals. But every women's tag team just feels like
this is what I'm saying.
Team of individuals.
Yeah,
and even if you look at the men's tag teams,
they weren't really a tag team, but they were just a great partnership.
Yeah.
They were very good partnership.
The ones that were established, and as far as like men's tag teams, the ones that are established are the ones that we care about. So we care about the New Day, we care about the Viking Raiders, we care about the Street Profits when they're not putting nothing. No. We care about DIY. We care about the Awesome Truth. We don't care about Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Why would we?
Do we fuck?
All right.
What's up, Catherine? Good to see you. And Billy says that's why
you might be annoyed at me later. You might be annoyed at me later, Catherine. Just
Catherine's fair. That's why FTR are brilliant. They're a throwback to 90s tag team still. Yeah, they are. But that's slightly in a way. Yeah, that is so vitally missing.
Shame Tony doesn't see it. But speaking of things that we did see, this strap match. The reason that I say it felt house show is because you knew who was going to win this. Match 1 was a complete toss-up. Drew wasn't going 2-0.
Yeah. Exactly.
What did you think of the lights? Did you think they were necessary?
For the indicators on the turnbuckles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think they are important, especially because you need to indicate who's actually got the advantage. I think anyone that disagrees that is deluded. I think you have to have. I'm not saying if you disagree, I'm not saying you're deluded, but I think you really need. If you do have them, you need to indicate, especially as the rules state, if one turnbuckle is touched, you need to restart the look and the count, and then the other person's got the advantage. But you can't wipe the advantage of the other person.
Yeah, I thought it made perfect sense to actually have the lights there, but it's the first time that I'd seen it like that. Where they were like, "Oh, we're going to show you when they touch."
That's a great shout, Connor. They're in my top 5 personal tag teams of all time.
Fair enough.
They are the team that really changed tag team wrestling. So I will grant you that comment. Like they are top notch. This match was better than I thought it was going to be. I also think Punk looked less gassed. It's because the roids help. However, Drew again makes me think makes everyone he works look good. Yeah, he has improved himself in different ways. He's just have a little drawback, but I'm hoping they iron that out. Everybody else sick and tired of Drew not winning a single fucking match. No, because he won at SummerSlam. And
not only did he win at SummerSlam, but King of the Ring is the reason that Drew McIntyre hasn't been winning matches. Because if they didn't do King of the Ring, where the finalist would have a world title match at SummerSlam,
absolutely,
they wouldn't have seen the opportunity to put the belt onto Gunther, and then there's no reason why Drew McIntyre wouldn't have won in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly.
They did the CM Punk screw job, because Gunther was going to beat Priest. I think if that wasn't lined up, then they wouldn't have done the Glasgow screw job, as it were. Punk wouldn't have screwed Drew in Glasgow because they would have seen that this feud needed the belt. And at the time, I said, Gunther feels like an odd piece here. I thought he was going to go for Cody.
It would have made more sense and just wipe the floor with him.
Or lose.
Not for me. I personally would have, because related back what we said months ago, I would have had him win.
I'll get to what because the thing is, like, Gunther could have fought Cody, either beat him or lose to him. And
I agree. I'm sick of it as well.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, they did. They pulled it, and now it's back. They're looking at it back on the website. It's like the guy with the Yeet shirt who owns the tag, like the Yeet tagline. Every time they use it without consulting them, they owe that person money. It's just hilarious. Tell you one thing that's actually coming up. There's actually a lot that's been happening right now. You know, there was a piece of artwork that was done recently for Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for promo packaging. This was going into SummerSlam. And WWE actually used the actual design, and then they completely edited over it. So they actually took. So they took
naughty boys.
So they actually took the creators at work. It was all watermarked and everything, and they completely fucked with it and edited it.
Right.
And then they posted.
Remember what sort of uphill battle that small creators have.
Because that was one of them. Like, I've had it.
You take anything. Yeah, you take anything that's owned by one of these companies, and it can be 3 seconds.
If they take ours, there's nothing we can do.
But WWE can just go, and any of the companies, any big company could just go, oh, that's pretty neat what you've made there. We'll have that. Like, oh, no, you won't.
Exactly.
Anyway, on to the strap match itself. I mean, it was the right result. They worked it well. I really liked the table spot where, you know, we're used to seeing like a struggle to put someone through a table. Drew went, nah, we're going through that. And it was really funny as well because people could say, oh, Drew shouldn't have lost this match. It made him look stupid. It made Punk look intelligent because, and this was important, remember when Drew got 2 of them?
Yeah, quite quickly as well.
And Punk rolled out the ring. And he trapped the strap around the stairs and around the rope. And Drew tried to move for it. But Punk was dead weight on the outside. And obviously you can't let go of the strap. You can't get out of that. So Drew, frustrated, had to try and like haul Punk up and back into the ring. And then boom, sucker punch. Light reset. It was very well worked between the two of them. It's the best CM Punk has looked in a while. It shows that this is a company that is sort of, you know, he is back to, I'm going to do my best. I feel like, I said it at the time with the Samoa Joe match, Punk dragged his feet through that one and people bought it because it was Punk and because they'd heard of everything that had gone on backstage. But because it was Punk versus Joe, they got to sell it. Punk was nothing against Samoa Joe. He was very little in the first match against Drew, really, in terms of like what he actually did. Seth Rollins made that match. If that match didn't have Seth Rollins in it, it wouldn't have been nearly as good.
It would have been awful. I'll say this: it's not his. I still think his best match in recent years is still the dog collar. Not because it's more violent. I just think that was just pure heat in itself, and it's one of the best stories I've watched in a long time. But it's his best match since Dog Collar versus MJF, because that was a match that you will never forget. This was excellent, and I'll say this as well. This match was pound for pound different match stipulation, but same format. This match, pound for pound, rivals Eddie Guerrero versus JBL in the Texas Bull Rope match in 2004, because it's exactly the same. It's the exact same way of getting each turnbuckle until the very end, except obviously Kurt Angle screws Eddie Guerrero, which is absolutely beautiful.
I also liked I like the finish here, especially.
I like the reality of just every time.
Except for the bracelet thing.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that bracelet. Like, even though obviously now they will, but
it didn't.
Pointless.
Yeah, it didn't mean anything. I mean, to be fair, Punk has lost that match against Drew, where Seth's the referee, because he wanted his bracelet back.
Yeah, mentality strikes him.
You know, you hear things like, "Oh, but the bracelet is symbolic." Here's the thing, right? If it was symbolic, it wouldn't need to have the names on it. That's bad symbolism, because you're literally telling me what the symbol is. The whole point of symbolism is that it's meant to be like
caught out,
implied.
Yes.
Like, this isn't implied.
Meant to capture you.
Yeah. A bracelet that says AJ and Larry on it, being about AJ and Larry, is not symbolism. It's not good symbolism. The Ula Fala is better symbolism, because
it's like in movie reference.
But it's like the thing. The Ula Fala is respect for the tribal chief. It's the sign of respect. You wear the Ula Fala, you wear the tribe on your neck, sort of thing. That is good symbolism. Bad symbolism is this bracelet has their names on it. I have this bracelet. That's terrible.
Yeah, I also think as well, when you look at it, if you look at it, the best form of symbolism of all time will always be the Dark Knight's Joker when he burns the money. It will always be the element of, you think this guy is about becoming rich and all that. No, he ain't. He's about proving that the wrongs of life are controlled by what's in your pocket. And it's about how your mind is warped and corrupted by what's easy to get hold of. And the most easiest thing to get hold of in the world is money. Everybody knows that. You can kill someone and take their money, or you can just rob them, or you can get a job. But once you have too much of it, you're corrupted, because you don't know what to do with it, and you get lost by it. Whereas if you burn it, it proves that you're stronger than the material.
I'm telling you, any example of good symbolism, go to the old school Avengers.
Yeah, before Phase 4.
You know, but like, so Iron Man's suit was about how he's a fragile person, but he's sort of like wearing his confidence, because without the suit, he is sort of nothing. The shield is, this symbol of respect, but they never have to go like, the shield didn't need respect written on it. Iron Man didn't, like, the Iron Man suits didn't need written on it, I am Tony Stark and I'm an insecure multi-billionaire. Mjolnir didn't need to have it like stapled on, like, if you can hold it, you're worthy, sort of thing, because it was established before. This bracelet appeared, became relevant in the story, had their names on it, and became what the feud was about. The feud changed from being about Drew driving CM Punk out of the company to Drew having this bracelet and holding his family. And sometimes you think, oh, well, I don't want WWE to go back to the whole like home invasion stuff. And on the other, it's like, if you're going to do something with the family, is this what we can do? A bracelet?
Yeah, I think you can stretch it a whole lot more. Like, there's an element to it, and there's an importance of it, and I think that's a lost trick. Ailey looks shocked and scared.
What's Billy just said?
I've never been so proud. He ain't wrong. Just saying.
He feckin' well is, but we'll get there.
No, he ain't. Home invasion stuff will never top Randy versus Cena. No, you can top it, because the best home invasion of all time will still forever be Steve Austin getting a gun to his face by Brian Pillman.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
Well, I still will. I don't care.
Oh my word! Right. Yeah. Well, we will get there. Just, bury the lead. Bury the lead.
Are we like? All I'm gonna say is, every company's tried this, and if you really want it, I will fight that one.
I know. We'll get there though. Anyway,
I will spark historical on you. Put that
back to Punk and Drew. I like that it
Mhm.
was one GTS for every turnbuckle. I like
That was clever.
I like that he hit it and then went, nah, I'm gonna do it again. I could have done without the bracelet thing. If he'd have just hit the GTS and then defiantly, like, there's the fourth, bell goes, and then get the bracelet if it's really, if that's really the thing that you're doing.
Nice. That's not so bad. Like, that's not bad. I didn't know that. Fair play.
So, but yeah, that's what I'll say about it. It's like, outside of the bracelet, this was pretty perfect for what it had to be. But I want this feud to get back to Drew McIntyre getting rid of CM Punk, and Punk like proving that he belongs and that Drew screwed it up for himself, sort of thing. I don't need this feud to be about bracelet. Now the bracelet is dead. We see where it goes. But remember that the promo that started this was Drew McIntyre saying that no one wanted CM Punk here. Punk screws him out of the world title. The world title hasn't been mentioned again. Punk mentions it. Drew takes him down, makes him eat the bracelet, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that Wade Barrett is copying another Crybaby UK commentator who didn't get to have his dream match. And Wade Barrett's going to sit there until suddenly he can just go and take someone else. So what's happening, right, is whoever wins the Rumble, Wade Barrett, so someone's going to come and attempt murder on the world champion. And then Wade Barrett's going to do a promo in the middle of the ring talking about how his career ended early and someone else got his success. And then Wade Barrett's going to fight Drew McIntyre for the title. But not at WrestleMania, at like Roadblock or something.
But except we know who is the better wrestler, and that will always be Nige.
I didn't see any of it.
You know full well. Don't lie.
I didn't see any of it. I couldn't think. You can count all the time I've seen Nigel McGuinness in the ring in the same bleeding length of time as that thing at Wembley, because that's all I've got for you, Captain.
Well, put it this way, he is superior. And I like Wade Barrett, by the way. I've always liked Wade Barrett.
Anyway, did you think match 4 was superior?
And to what?
I don't know. Let's say, was it better than you thought it was going to be? So I'm going to say yes.
Well, all right. It was good for. All right, okay. It was better for one side of the match. It was good because Rhea Ripley was in it. It was shit that Liv Morgan was in it because she can't do. Because she can't do.
Right, we get it. You don't like Liv Morgan. You don't like Liv Morgan. But was it a better match than you thought it was gonna be?
No.
Okay.
It was still the exact same match that I expected, except Rhea Ripley is just outstanding. Liv Morgan is absolute shite. Liv Morgan should just go back to what she was doing before. She should go back to working Hooters. She's absolute rubbish. It was just a waste of my time. I would have enjoyed this more if this was just Liv Morgan. Sorry, I would have actually enjoyed this more, if this was Rhea Ripley versus Dominic Mysterio. Because then we'd know anyway that Rhea's still going to smack him about. And I would have enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, so Connor's making an interest, but if you want this to be a feud, you can't have the Terror Twins winning every single fucking thing and making New Judgment Day look useless, even with the numbers.
Well, they're not going to have Bad Blood, in my opinion, but you make a good point. I think both of them will get absolutely creamed at Bad Blood. Here's
the one thing that you got to remember. If you're annoyed at Damien and Rhea winning this match, Rhea getting revenge on Liv Morgan,
that's right.
Good. Remember that Priest's beef isn't actually with Dominic.
It's with Finn.
Priest's beef is Finn. If they just feed Finn to Damien and nothing happens, then we'll call it waste. If Finn,
call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade. Yeah. That's the truth behind it.
If Finn can get a win, if Finn can win this feud over Damien, which is the way I would go with it, because what does Damien Priest get out of winning this feud? He's not going to go back for the world title.
He ain't winning that ever again.
I wouldn't think so.
And that's not me disparaging Damien Priest. I like Damien Priest. He's not winning a world title again.
He did an okay job, but he is not that quality.
He's like, what's the nicest way to put it? Who's a one-time champion?
Connor said your favourite word.
Fuck off. That's it. That's it. And I'm sorry to everyone that cries this. Damien Priest is just Kofi Kingston without that WrestleMania moment that wasn't against a former world champion. It was a cash-in. That's all he's got. Damien Priest will never win that title again.
You know how little I remember of the Kofi Mania reign? I actually messaged Greg the other day.
Fucking hate the people.
I'd had a random thought where I was like, hey, if Kofi Mania was all about, like, Redacted picked Kevin Owens over him, and then it led to Kofi winning anyway, and I was asking, why didn't Kofi fight Kevin Owens in that feud? I'd completely forgotten that match happened. I only remember Ziggler, Joe getting squashed by Brock. I don't remember anything. And he fought Seth Rollins, which the bar then interrupted.
He also fought...
That was dirty of them.
He also had Randy Orton as well.
Damien is the Puerto Rican Baron Corbin. I think he's better than that. I think he's better than that. He's more interesting than that. But I think that's a bit harsh, because Baron Corbin is literally the safest worker they've got. Whereas Damien Priest isn't, judging by what he did to his ankle. Priest is a heel. We need to accept this.
And Baron Corbin is a bum that was on the streets.
If Priest wins this feud, he's not that like, well, I'm the upper card babyface Damien Priest. I'm gonna go up against Braun Breaker. Or what? He goes to SmackDown and fights LA Knight. LA Knight's face. So turn him heel. I guess that would be something you could do with him. But then does Damien Priest have to win that feud?
You could send him back to NXT to fight over Femi and get squashed.
You could. I don't think it's that bad, but this is what I'm saying, Connor. What does he actually do if he wins the feud? If he loses the feud, he's at least got some kind of redemption. I would almost say that if Finn beats him, Damien's got to join his Judgment Day.
As like a forced join, like what happened with Cena with the Nexus?
Yeah, but he stays there.
Ah, yes, there's no way in, there's no way out.
Like for once, there's like a you're going to fall back in line. And the guy just does.
Yeah, Priest is a bit of a sheep.
He's just kind of,
Blah, Puerto Rican Baron Corbin sheep, have you any will?
I just don't know what he... Yeah, like,
I think the biggest
direction is not clear.
My biggest concern for Damien Priest is actually beyond him actually winning or losing a feud. For me, it's like most other guys that have gone from being world champion to nothing, is they really dropped the ball big with them. And a big example is, ironically, Dolph Ziggler. Well, now because obviously he's now wrestling elsewhere on his own. When you look at it, it took them quite a while to figure out what to do with him after he lost the world title. He lost the quick rematch to Del Rio. He then had the IC title for a little bit. Then he gets involved with the 40, which was shit. They always
struggle with this. This is always a problem. But it's a problem in every company, which we'll come on to. Trust me, we'll come on to.
There is a fear. There is a fear that they don't, if you've noticed as well, they will not let certain people fail because it's their hand-picked favourites.
Yeah, I've had a horrible thought though.
I'm
if
quite
Priest
scared now.
wins this feud and Jey Uso beats Braun Breaker, is that what Damian Priest is then going to do? Does Damian Priest then go, well, I beat Jey Uso and kept my world title, so I'm going to beat Jey Uso and become the IC champion? Then what do you do with Braun Breaker? Does he go up and like fight Gunther?
I
don't want to see that.
I think Braun would smash him to bits and take his title. And he should.
Which he probably should. He probably should.
Braun Breaker will... I'm going to say this, and I'm actually going to be adamant on this. So if anyone wants to clip this and use it against me, this is your only permission time.
John Moxley is the equivalent of Gunther. Sorry, I was talking about a clip that we were going to take. That would be the one.
That's not what I was going to say, for fuck's sake.
You thought I'd forgotten. It's been a few shows since I brought that up, people.
That's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is within the next two, it'll either be within the next 2 to 3 WrestleManias, Braun Breaker won't be winning the world title at WrestleMania. He'll be defending the title at WrestleMania. And he'll defend it in a fatal 4-way. And unfortunately, Seth Rollins will probably win that match.
I like Seth Rollins.
Yeah, so do I, but he shouldn't be winning another world title ever again because his world title reigns generally have fallen flat for quite a while. His last one, even though he deserved the length, it
better than Priest.
Suck.
It's better than Priest.
That's not hard. That is not hard.
See?
Because it isn't what
exactly.
I meant. People never listen. I'm sick of saying this shit.
But we know what you said.
I know what I said, but people never listen. So
it will live on in infamy, like the Archer of infamy.
He wishes. I mean, his outside the arch needs to be improved on. Put it that way. And the Undertaker will never be world champion ever again. So if you are a fan of the bisexual Undertaker, just know this: he will never win another world title.
And just like that, we move on to the main event, and it's got to be said,
very long.
These two thought they were doing something here, and for some people, for that room, they were doing something. People always say, like they hear takes on AEW from people like myself and say, you're just listening to Cornette and you're repeating what he said.
At least you
this Gunther match is the prime example of me not doing that.
Okay, now I'm interested.
And what I've noticed, right, and I'm sorry, and if this gets me a promo from Jim Cornette himself, then, fantastic. He could call me out as one of them transvestites that he loves so much. Anyway,
just for that alone.
What he says about certain people, and it's going to come up again in AEW, he is blind to their faults, and he is blind to when someone does something and then someone else does that same thing. The reason I bring this up is because he'll complain about certain wrestlers who have matches that don't keep moving. But he's got too much respect for Randy Orton and Gunther to call out how slow this is and how slow it's been both times. These matches are water.
I hit the wrong button, sorry. I made a quick
They've been in quicksand, and the quicksand's underwater, and the water is under a 5-layer trifle. They're moving that slowly. These matches don't do anything for either guy because we know how good they both are. As I said, Gunther has to be treated like a King Kong type. There's got to be smaller, quicker, more athletic guys. I'm not talking get Axiom and Dragon Lee and stuff. But, and this is going to be controversial, I think a Jey Uso versus Gunther match is going to be a lot better than Randy Orton versus Gunther. Because Jey Uso's at least got speed. You can hate that all you like, but I genuinely think main event Jey Uso would have a better world heavyweight title match with Gunther than Randy Orton, because Jey Uso moves with speed and intensity, and he has, velocity to what he does.
One moment.
What are you doing? What are you doing? While we're here, just want to remind everyone, I am a TikTok sensation with over 1,000 followers. If you want to go and join me over there, you can see how I end up looking like this every day. Back to you.
I'll take that. That was good timing. I'll let you on. Yeah, no, absolutely. This match was way too long, and I love some Randy Orton. Both Gunther and Orton were slow in the ring. Orton I could expect being slow, but Gunther is trash. He does work to be. I don't think he is the latter part, but what I will say, they don't complement each other at all. And there's one thing I hate about certain fans, right? And this is where I talk about delusion. There's certain fans that were literally begging for them to give us Gunther versus Ilja Dragunov in Berlin. And there was fans that were saying, no, but we don't watch NXT, so we don't watch this match. Well, fucking go and watch it then, you cunts.
It's weird to me. It's weird, especially because that's different.
Dark match. It was a SmackDown dark match.
It's different though for WWE.
It's idiotic. That's what they are.
Because the thing is, if you're watching the PLE, you have the network, and if you have the network, you have access to everything they've done in the WWE. Where I don't like have you seen the match is when it goes to a different promotion and you either have to have been watching at the time, or you have to go and pay for a different streaming service to go and access the archives and stuff. Or you have to hope to get a dodgy view of it on YouTube or something like that. So when people say, you've never seen these two guys have their first match, it happened on Bumfuck's Wrestling Initiative.
On what
in front of 17 people in a front garden. It was a fantastic match. I'm not going to go and watch that. I can't access that. I don't want to access that either.
I don't know if you. I'm trying to take you seriously, but the fact that you just come out with a random promotion that probably exists somewhere is actually quite funny.
It might. If not, I'll book the trademark, and I could get the first show going.
It wouldn't surprise me if the world champion is Alberto Del Rio.
Maybe.
Because we all know, because we know what shirt he's into, the psycho. But and I think that's fair. But what I'm implying, and I'm not saying everybody is in that way, but I'm thinking if you're an absolute diehard WWE fan and you only watch WWE, there's no excuse for you not to have watched Dragunov versus Gunther on NXT UK, in my opinion.
I mean, it's right there. And the one
and it is amazing to watch. It is an amazing match.
Chicago's the other one?
Yeah, the second time, when it retains it. Fuck me. Not as good as the first one, but that's just because the first one was just ahead of the curve.
The thing is, if you don't want to go and watch, because I can see why you wouldn't want to go and watch the NXT UK one, because it was no fans, wasn't it? They did it.
It was during lockdown.
Yeah,
it was during.
They did it empty arena. It's actually quite a harrowing thing to watch, because if you think Gunther's chops are loud with the crowd,
we did with no crowd.
These two just went and slapped each other for real for about half an hour, and there were no fans. So all you could hear.
If you look at the end of that match, Gunther's nipples were literally split in two.
Oh,
not literally split in two, but they were like he had 4.
They took a battering off each other. But if no crowd wrestling, gets your goal, and I get why, because no one really enjoyed it. It was a different time. Go and watch the one in Chicago, because it's the same flavour. It's probably a better match than you got on a SmackDown dark match.
That was insulting. That was a dark match.
It's the two of them working for it's probably about a 20-minute match. You'll get the flavour. Not Chicago 1. Don't go to Chicago 1 and expect to see it.
That's true. He did do that. He did Berlin, then Manchester.
Billy, you don't need to bring up the miserable.
Thanks for reminding me about that 3-0 spanking, mate. Thanks for reminding me. But Yeah, I'll say this as well, and this is my biggest problem, and this is where I'm starting to get annoyed. It kind of comes down to what there has been announced. I've been putting on the community tab for anyone that keeps an eye on the community tab. I know a few people do, so thank you. They have come out and said as well that this was the most, like, this is like in terms of like money they bring in, it's their most expensive show. Well, I wonder why, because even the seats up in the bloody crowds were well over $600 bloody dollars for Americans. Like, the amount of money for this, yeah, they've drawn a big gate, but fuck me, for 5 matches, the amount of money that it was costing, I'm sorry, but that's just not worth my time. Like, I would have liked maybe one more. Like, I don't know why. It's again another show where there's no US title or no IC title. They're deliberately removing it, and I'm not gonna, like, I criticized it when Gunther was Intercontinental Champion. The amount of times that he wasn't even on the card defending that title because they refused not to put him on there. They're now doing it again. I am fucking sick of this. A mid-card title. I can understand your comments before we were saying the World Champion doesn't have to always be on Raw or SmackDown, but they should at least be at an event to defend it. The IC title should be on every single freaking event. It's a mid-card title. It's supposed to be there. It's actually becoming a joke.
Yeah.
It fucking infuriates me.
Yeah, well, the mid-card titles were meant to be there to, guarantee that you were getting title matches. But now they're on the shows sometimes. Yeah. LA Knight hasn't had a defense of that yet. I mean, he has on SmackDown, but
that's it. That's like, I'm surprised that he didn't get it at the.
You couldn't get LA Knight out there for 15 minutes and beat Grayson Waller.
It's
would have been something. The fans would have liked it. They would have liked it more than the women's tag match that you put in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
You took those 12 minutes and gave them to LA Knight versus Grayson Waller. The fans would have appreciated that more.
Exactly. And you would have got some enjoyment of somebody that nobody likes.
You'd have got LA Knight, which would have been great.
Literally.
Was LA Knight in France?
Yeah. Logan
you
Paul,
said it wrong.
Wasn't it?
No, that was SummerSlam.
Who did he have it?
Cody had Logan Paul in France.
So he did. No, LA Knight had. It wasn't.
LA Knight wasn't
Escobar.
on the show.
It wasn't Escobar.
Because he wasn't
somebody else. No, he had I'm sure he had a singles one. Hold on, 2 seconds.
No, because he'd just beaten. He beat AJ at Mania, right?
Yeah.
And then he wasn't.
Which was. I'm just double checking now.
Backlash card was Jay versus Damian, Cody versus Logan.
No, you're right. Yeah, it was Bloodline.
He wasn't on it. We haven't had LA Knight on the UK shows, on the Europe shows, which is weird because you would think for this like big thing, and plus like you could have had LA Knight, you could have had LA Knight, it would have worked.
LA Knight C, or when it goes to Ireland, LA Knight drunk.
Oh, come on now!
I love. I love the Irish. I love the Irish. That was
horrible.
A good comment. No, I love.
But yeah, so what
At
next for Randy Orton? He's come back to win nothing. What next for Gunther? He's
nothing.
Waiting for a challenger.
I think his challenger's right there. They're just not going to give him it. I'm just having one little look at something. 2 seconds. What? Hurry up, you stupid thing. Nope. Yeah, he wasn't at Clash either, even though I was there. I should have remembered that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's probably going to sit out of.
Point?
It's weird. It's weird to have someone that's built on such a it's like a worldwide thing. Everyone's like, yeah, and they don't. The last time he was in Europe would have been Money in the Bank. Like they didn't bring him for Clash. They didn't bring him for Backlash, and they don't, even when he's a champion, bring him to Berlin for the actual show.
I wonder, and this is just a thought, and I like LA Knight, so this is going to sound strange for me to say this.
Go on then.
But I don't think there's a European demand for him. At all.
I think there's only one way to find out. There's more of a European demand for him than there is for the Unholy Union.
I don't think there is for either.
No, because I think you get the crowd reaction. What do the Unholy Union do? Nothing. But what does LA Knight do? LA Knight, yeah! And that's really easy to do, you know?
It is. No, it is.
You could do a wrestling event in the middle of Zimbabwe and you could get a what chant going.
If you're joking, then I'll let you off.
I agree with that.
What?
I agree. I think they need to pull him away. Right. Here's my Austin Theory redemption.
We defended Austin Theory for what, a year and a half, and then he completely let us down. Yeah. Don't give him the world title.
Yeah. No. Trust me, because I have a plan for him. Okay. One, you pull him away from Grayson Waller.
Hopefully,
you pull him away because Grayson Waller overshadows him as a heel in every single way. 2, Austin Theory wrestles like a babyface. Use that. 3, bring him to NXT. 4, build him up through helping Trick, helping Joe Hendry, establish him as a proper babyface that no one can trust. Because they know what Austin Theory does and what he did. They also know that he was the chosen one of the guy who left. 5, you incorporate that into his character without saying that completely. He says, look, things were on the up for me, and then due to things that were out of my control, I lost everything. Yeah, and that's what you do. You don't make it his nickname. He's not forgotten Austin Theory, but that becomes his thing. You know how you've got like undesirable to undeniable? You've got the same sort of thing. He's forgotten by people. So, you know, he's got little things that are like forgotten no more sort of stuff. He wins the belt against Ethan Page. He's the babyface that does it. And the reason he does it is because Ethan Page is about to, let's say Ethan Page has run through the NXT roster, or at least the top half of it. And he goes like, I'm now going to rebrand it. This is going to be the All Ego show. And you even get an episode of it. And it's Ethan Page running the show.
It would be unbelievably good because Ethan Page is incredible.
Yeah. And imagine like they're getting more desperate to stop him. And then the babyface that no one trusts, they finally go, okay, prove yourself. Austin Theory wins the NXT title, top babyface, has a run. And when he gives it up, he's hopefully had enough good singles matches that we remember how naturally talented the guy is in the ring. When he goes back up to the main roster, he joins in and helps whoever the main event guy is at that point. So if Cody's still champ, he goes and helps him. You know, he starts getting himself in with these people. And then you have upper mid-card babyface Austin Theory. And then it's a case of winning the Money in the Bank as a babyface this time. And then he could cash in. It's a long process. I would take 4 or 5 years to do it overall to get him from where he is now, build him. But with a focused build, I would have Austin Theory as a top face, and with a similarly focused build as one of the guys that have sort of circled and gone, do something with him, I'd have Pete Dunne as top heel. And I'd do Austin Theory versus Pete Dunne at some point.
What's interesting, I'm just because I've been listening to what you've been saying, and you mentioned Ethan Page there, and everyone knows I'm a TNA mark, right? But I'm going to use I'm going to use a fantastic example. One of the best things that TNA did, even during the years where it was before it eventually really hit shit creek, and I still watch even though. One of the best things they did was put the world title on Bobby Roode, eventually put the world title on him. And he was an incredible heel champion. And he was all about, I've done the team stuff. I've won numerous tag titles. I was part of the faction that was literally carried around. I am a TNA original. These guys are TNA originals. But I was never given an opportunity. I was never given the respect. I got cheated out of the world title by Kurt Angle on the biggest show, in the biggest main event, and I never got another opportunity. So I stabbed my friend in the back by smashing a beer bottle. All about me, all about arrogance. And Ethan Page, ironically, is all ego. It's ignorance in the best way.
Yeah.
He was defeated by somebody who was just as arrogant, just as cocky. The difference is, though, is at the time when he'd done it, it was purely about ending the ego, and that was Austin Aries. you idealistically have the
Austin
smaller
Theory.
you ideally have the more variety. Somebody who is smaller, Austin Theory, smaller than Ethan Page. Somebody who's a little bit more dynamic. And I would say so. I think he is a little bit smaller.
I think you'd be pretty close.
I'd say just a little bit small, not too big, but just a little bit. But in the hypothetical, whereas like Ethan Page is also bigger in terms of more experience as well, I think you've got that. Although to be fair, there's same level of experience between Rude and
I
Aries.
also think the two of them would have a good match. I think Theory as a babyface would need to like brighten up his gear and everything.
Yeah,
like it would have to be clear that he was babyface. He couldn't come out with like the black gear, the same that Ethan Page does, sort of thing.
Yeah,
or you do it the opposite way. Ethan Page is the flashy one, and Austin Theory sort of ditches all the flash. But it would work.
I think you could still have both of them are still in black, but it's the way they're presented with it is different. And I think that's where I was kind of tying into Aries versus Rude. Is Aries became more flash. Rude just became, he channeled the classic world champion heel that Flair and all that was, and he wanted to add to it. And
why isn't Randy Orton helping Austin Theory? Austin Theory's been compared to Randy Orton from when he was 19 years old.
I think they don't want to associate in any way. Not by choice. I just think they're not interested. And I think
I'm not saying like a mentor, like active manager sort of stuff. I just mean like have a conversation.
I wonder if it's maybe they're maybe not linking in any way. They're maybe just not near each other to link. But I think it is a missing trick. I agree. I think they should, but
missing trick because that's the guy they chose.
Yep. But I like the idea of Theory beating Ethan Page. I really like it, and I would do it the same way, even though I hate when other companies steal each other's ideas. I would still do it the same way, ironically. Rude went through the entire roster, beat everybody that was a legit main eventer that was seriously good. And he's like, well, somebody's just coming into the main event scene. I'll smoke him. 25 minutes later, he's on his back and he's moaning saying, fluke.
Oh,
and
easy.
And then he beats him again in the rematch.
We're not in the watershed yet. Don't talk about on your back moaning. So poor Orlando came in, and the first thing he heard probably was, "We are talking about wrestling. Don't worry."
But notice the profile picture. I'm pretty sure that's Damian Priest, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. I don't know.
I think that's Damian Priest in Puerto Rico.
Ah, okay.
The eyes don't fail. It's a great acquisition. I've already put it on the community tab. It's a great acquisition. I think I'm going to say this now. They deserve better than NXT, but I wish them Motor City Machine Guns well because they're still my favorite tag team of all time. They're the greatest tag team of the 21st century. Enough said. But fair play to them. I think
better than. We're going to cross the channel. We're going to cross the wrestling divide. And we're going to go to AEW All Out. And quite frankly, I deserved better. I deserved better than this. Many people deserve better than this. But I feel personally insulted by this show. They did everything on All Out. I hated all of it.
That's actually on screen. Why? I don't know why.
It is the worst wrestling pay-per-view.
Absolutely not.
I'm genuinely, this is coming from my core here. I have rewatched some of these matches.
Interesting.
This is the worst wrestling pay-per-view start to finish that I've ever seen. It is worse than the first Double or Nothing for me. It is worse than the other AEW shows that have previously held this title. It's worse than when they main evented with Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, for jing's sake. This was horrid.
Interesting.
And we're going to get into why.
All right, then. I think in the divulge of this, a lot of people have got their own mixed views on it. I know a lot of people have been... There's a lot that have praised this show. There's a lot that have critiqued this show to a degree that it feels like, is it a critique or is it a little bit more? There's some people who have shown positive and negative in the sense of they praised where
if I can find a positive, like the the piece of gold in the piss river, I will let you know. But as we go through this card,
I can find some.
Let's see if you can convince me. Match number 1 had nothing positive going for it. Firstly, we talk about world champions who don't have any plans when they lose the belt. MJF loses his belt. He's supposed to be feuding with the guy that cost him the title. He can't feud with the guy that cost him the title because, in MJF's own words, Adam Cole is so frail he makes crack whores jealous. Adam Cole hasn't been available for MJF to fight. So MJF hasn't been able to actually finish that feud.
That's correct. She's injured. That's on the community. That's fine.
So what does MJF do? Well, he's just lost his world title. Tell you what, says MJF. I'm gonna go after a secondary title. He wins it. Well done. And when he wins the belt on a weekly episode of TV, by the way, because fuck building anything. Let's just throw it because it's an arbitrary number for Dynamite. Dynamite 250, everybody. MJF wins. It's not even really a quick heel turn. He turned heel while being heel, and the crowd cheered him louder. Then he goes and loses to Will Ospreay in a somewhat entertaining match because Will Ospreay made it entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
MJF did his same old canned ham crap, and I hate it. I hate it for a shoot. I know he's heel. I know I'm supposed to boo him, but I mean for a shoot. MJF is one of the most overrated fucking wrestlers in the world. He is doing heel rock shit with a crowd of children around him. It is the most attitude era that he can be. He is doing heel rock shit and just saying the rudest word. Normally with you in AEW, hate this was a decent PLE. Okay, I'm gonna.
He is, to be fair though, in respect, before you carry on, I just want to say, in fairness, he is normally on your side, so that is a shock.
I know. I'm aware. Yeah. So MJF.
I support this. I want to.
I love that we're saying getting old. A crowd of 6 children. Yep. See, this is the thing. I've got a good, got good promo on me. My charisma has brought Billy back to the dark side of the E-drones.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. MJ, when you stick MJF with someone like Daniel Garcia, whose only talent is dancing like a belly dancer who's got no personal charisma or is about to drop 6 kids in Malibu, you're not really going to get anything else. But what you are going to get at least is potentially some MJF sinister work where he is violent. The difference though, and this is where it comes back to it, when you're not in Malibu, you're normally stuck in a desert resort. And Daniel Garcia's career is like a desert resort. The Sahara isn't open enough with a monsoon to save his arse.
No, I completely get that. So my issue with Daniel Garcia is that he's nothing and he'll never be anything. Even if he becomes AEW World Champion, he will not be anything because he can't do it. He is like so many other people on this show who's arbitrarily pushed because the company like him, and that's it. He's arbitrarily pushed because the people in the company like him, so they keep an eye on him and they keep pushing him. And another name or 2 or 3 or I don't know how many, as we work through this card, maybe more and more will appear. But Daniel Garcia only gets these big matches because people backstage like him. That is it. That is it.
It's because when he's not belly dancing, he's on his knees.
Yeah, and he's gigging himself. He's blading himself. First match of the night. So this is already, appropriately enough for the blood. This is already red flag for me. Red flag number 1. You're in the opening match of a pay-per-view. I am always consistent on this. You're in the opening match of a pay-per-view. You do not fucking bleed. You don't do it, because if you bleed and it's like a blade job, I'm not talking like, drop kicks can happen and noses can break, or you burst someone's lip. You cause blood to come from somewhere. You hit the steps at an odd angle. I mean, when you do a blade job, in the opening match of the night, honestly, fuck you, because I have a whole fucking show to watch, and you are starting the bar here. I didn't come to watch you slaughter the livestock at the abattoir. I came to watch wrestling. But match number 1, you're going to go ahead and do a blade job like that. Because I know who else is on this card. I know what else is going to happen.
True.
You don't need to bleed. The other thing is, this match was built around breaking necks, which makes it the first count of attempted murder of the night. And the first of 3 matches that was built around breaking necks. AEW can't make their matches feel different. Their singles matches don't feel different. This match, number 5 on your list here, MJF beat Daniel Garcia, was a pale imitation of Will Ospreay versus Pac. For me, take MJF and Daniel Garcia off this fucking show and just do Will Ospreay versus Pac, and that could be your match that's all about necks.
I would have went one further, and I would have said you remove MJF and Daniel Garcia and you give Will Ospreay and Pac, you go more than 20 minutes, because those two could wrestle for 40 and it wouldn't feel like a 40-minute match.
Yeah, we'll get to the issue that I have with Ospreay and Pac, but that's less sort of in-ring. My issues here were in-ring.
That wasn't my match tonight. My match tonight.
This match was disgusting. Outside of the blood, this match. Stop spitting on each other. Just stop. There's a point, right, where they spit, and the spit is still like shining on the other guy's cheeks. Like, listen, I didn't come to watch Fight Club. Go and do some wrestling. I don't need to see you have a bar fight.
I get your point, and I think in the relation to it, I think the one thing you're always going to see in terms of like where people just despise each other, you're always going to like not lower the bar per speed where you're going to make it a bad match. What I mean is you're going to actually lower yourself because you're expected to hate them. And this
they lowered themselves, all right. They lowered themselves.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in that way is if you like when you build a feud the way of, as you said, it's about literally breaking necks. You absolutely despise someone that bad that you really want to try and kill them. You are going to spit on their face, not just illiterally, but literally. If I hate you that much, and
it doesn't work as something to build a freaking match around.
I think
the same way that eye for an eye didn't work.
That's just as grotesque.
No, it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same result. Because if you really wanted to take some fecker's eye out, you could do it in about 30 seconds. If you really want to break someone's neck, you could do it just if you're strong enough. But who's to say that Daniel Garcia didn't just study assassination? Just there you go.
Probably has.
Broke your neck.
Yeah, I get that point. I mean, it's not the most violent moment, but there is a match where that stuff is actually needed, and I'm not saying you need it all the time in wrestling, but in a match where you're actually expecting it to go to the absolute extreme for what a feud has been about, then yes, this one shouldn't have been about breaking necks. This should have been who is the better man after what had happened before. Yes, MJF in a storyline moment where it was written did break Daniel Garcia's neck, and he's been all about getting that exact revenge ever since. I understand it, It's not what I would have wanted. What I would have wanted to see was Daniel Garcia comes back to absolutely and decisively beat MJF, who claims he is the best thing they've got. That would have been much more of a bigger statement, because what this could have been, like I said about All In, when I said that was Will Ospreay's best story-based match for what the audience you're trying to get. This would have been Daniel Garcia's best match for the audience you're trying to get, because it would have been about being the better man. Yep. I understand the whole point of going to the neck break, the pile driver from the top rope. I understand that. I liked the match in that way. I can see why they went to it. I don't think it was necessary. The violence was needed for the main event. It was the only match where you need the violence for what that's actually been all about. This should have been Daniel Garcia going, I have got a lot to prove, and I'm going to kick your head in, and I'm going to remind you all the pain I've had, and I'm going to remind you who the better man is. I don't think they needed this. I don't think they needed the pile driver spot, but I can see why they went for it. I would have went a little bit differently. I would have just had Daniel Garcia pile drive the shit out of MJF through the ring steps. It's not as impactful, but that's what they should have done.
They also fight for 23 minutes and then do a Raw finish.
Yeah, I was surprised they went like that length of time. I was expecting maybe 15 minutes, honestly.
Yeah, but they fought for 23 minutes and then did a Raw finish.
Yeah, roll up.
They did it to write MJF off because he's going to be going to film a movie. Okay, is he going to be in this one this time? Like
he is in this. He is going to be in it, but I don't know what film it is because I'm not paying attention. To be honest, I don't pay attention to what MJF does behind the scenes because he's too busy getting his twat.
He just came back from. He's not long back from his first time off.
Yeah, now he's taking more off.
This guy's John Cena without the history.
Or John Cena, but with the pubescent haircut that he's trying to come across as real.
But yeah, so then post-match, Daniel Garcia, after losing to a low blow and roll-up, like this is Raw, went to, there was a handshake offered. MJF went to kick Daniel Garcia in the balls. Daniel Garcia caught it, kicked MJF in the balls, and then went and hit the pile driver from the top rope anyway and broke his neck. So why didn't he have the match?
Yeah, you could have literally done like a 5-minute thing.
You could have done that on Dynamite when he came back. Why did he need the match to do that? Why did he need to lose a 23-minute match to then get up, act like he wasn't hurt at all, and break his neck anyway?
He did try it on Dynamite, and they obviously, because it's just how it is, security got involved. But this time, constantly, you still got the pile driver anyway. You
can't break his neck yet. The security's there. Wait till we can charge people $50. Then you can break his neck. That's it. Yeah. That's the whole thing.
I don't think they necessarily needed to do the pile. I would have done it differently. I can see why they did the pile driver spot. I think they could have done it a whole lot differently. I would have just had Daniel Garcia completely mutilate him.
Yeah. No.
Without obviously chopping off limbs, but I mean like mutilate as in like completely rip him apart, picking his body one by one, and then MJF's like, I'm too busy to fight.
Why did they do it though? Like this match just didn't need to happen. This feud was crap. Daniel Garcia's rubbish. MJF is beyond old at this point.
I don't like where MJF is going as a character or a worker. I think he needs to freshen his arse up quickly. Like he will never do it.
I don't like where MJF was going when he signed his new contract with AEW. And got that stupid fucking tattoo.
I'm gonna say this now. And this is not a bias or unbiased towards any promotion, but see if he'd went to WWE as well, he still would have been boring.
No, because he would have had the talent to elevate himself, and I think he honestly would have had to do a little bit in NXT.
I think even if he did, then he would have been fine with that. I still don't think it would have mattered, you know? And this is, like, I think it's the exact same. I just don't think he cares enough about being a pro wrestler. I don't think he does.
No.
I think he's one of those where he's just happy to get a check and then fuck off now and again to do a film.
His mind is like, is it Wesley Snyder?
Yeah.
Who basically said, like, I could have easily been like the greatest player in the world. I just didn't try that hard.
Yeah, and that says it all. Like, you could have had it. You had something. You were going somewhere, and then you were like, "Man, I'm too lazy." MJF is he's just a lazy kid from fucking New York. No surprise, to be fair.
Speaking of lazy kids, we got 2 lazy children in the next match because we have Matthew Jackson and Nicholas Jackson. Oh God, I'm just
absolute wrong result.
So sick of the Young Bucks.
This match was absolutely the wrong result.
I mean, especially for what's going to happen later.
It would have been so much more impactful if you had Yuta and Castagnoli holding both tag titles and merge the two fuckeries together into one tag title, like I've been saying for, I don't know, 6 months. This should never have. Yeah, I used
this
to like
the Bucks
a long time ago.
this should happen.
This should have been, ironically, a 5-10 minute squash, which will never happen to the Bucks. But this should have been an absolute squash from Blackpool Combat Club, just ripping them apart.
Yeah, okay, it's Catherine. The Young Bucks have their appeal, right?
They used to be a great tag team.
That appeal goes when you book yourself to win the belts and then you just keep the belts on yourself. It's not even like they get heat. The fans just don't care. The fans just do not actually care about this tag division right now because the Young Bucks have the belts. If the Young Bucks lose the belts, you will see the tag scene get better.
The last time I liked the Young Bucks, truthfully, was when they lost to the Lucha Brothers, who are still my favorite AEW tag team, and not anymore, but they're still my favorite tag team that was in AEW. The Lucha Brothers just had it all, and rightfully so, they took the belts from them. The Young Bucks, even though their best runs as champions were when they were in New Japan, because there was a far more variety, but that's where they were actually both a good chaser and a good champion. In AEW, they are not a good champion, they are a better chaser.
I started disliking the Young Bucks around the time that I saw Kenny Omega.
Yeah, but we know which one's an elite wrestler, pardon the pun.
Yeah. Young Bucks are better at chasing tag titles and holding them. They have their match. The Young Bucks, right?
They have the same problem as the Usos. They have the same.
They're the independent Usos. That's exactly what I was going to say. They're the independent Usos. They have their match. And they'll have their match with anybody. Don't ask them to do anything different.
It's just there. Yeah. And people find they're the greatest tag team. They're not.
They're not. They're not going to do anything that is so dreadful that it kills your company. But they will just go out there and do their match. No one's going to... I mean... Dave Meltzer aside and his acolytes and everything, they're not going to do anything anymore that's going to get people ranting and raving. The Usos were never going to do anything that was going to get people ranting and raving. Both companies suck in the tag division right now. That's true. The best tag division right now is NXT.
NXT tag division, to be fair, at the moment is not so bad.
That match at No Mercy, feckin' hell, what a contest!
There's some good tag teams out there, and especially if they can add the Rascals, who is an undeniable tag team. ABC are an undeniable tag team. I think the problem is just who you are building your divisions around, and I said it before, and I'll stand by it. AEW's biggest loss is 100% not getting the machine guns, because you're stuck with the worst fucking tag team to ever come into wrestling, and that's the shitty Acclaimed.
The Young Bucks could easily... AEW could easily have a top tag team as their champions, but for some unknown reason, FTR. I wonder why the Young Bucks aren't booking FTR strong, huh? I wonder why the Young Bucks don't like FTR. Would that have to do with someone from Chicago as well?
You know who I think would have been their top tag team if life hadn't tragically got in the way? The best tag team, 100% in AEW would have been the Briscoes. And I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming Pingway's. I'm not blaming Mark's death. I'm saying tragedy got in the way.
They weren't gonna let the Briscoes on.
They would have
AEW because of what. I think it was Jay, because of what he
Jay's
tweeted
death,
before.
Yeah.
No, but it was they weren't going to let him on because one of them tweeted stuff that was like anti-pride or whatever. But I'm not one of these people that's actually for going into someone's Twitter past and letting it sort of define who they are now.
I agree with that comment. AEW's tag teams, it could be champ, but he doesn't know how to book them. There's literally one tag team right there that's so bloody good. We praised them at All In. The fucking Guns. The actual Gun Brothers. We literally praised them that much because they were the best tag team in that freaking ladder match.
And we disagree on the Acclaimed, because I think the Acclaimed are more valuable to that. They're more valuable to this division than the Young Bucks. And as I said for the All In match, when it was Acclaimed versus FTR, it was a good match. When the Bucks got in the way of it, it was terrible. So if you just do Acclaimed versus FTR, you got a good match there.
Yeah, I think they're missing a trick where they should be given. They've already got Jay White coming back soon from injury.
Also, has it not been long enough that Billy Gunn could go back to his kids?
I think I don't think he I think as much he would like to, I don't think he needs to, because I think when you look at what they're doing with Juice Robinson, I think you're better sticking with the youth side and they fit more. I think Billy's fine where he is. Billy would be so much better with Bowens because Max Caster is a fucking spanner. And he can't rap. My arse can rap better than him. And I can't rap for shit.
Well, this has thrown a spanner in the works for the tag division, because now that the Young Bucks have beaten BCC, I mean, are they honestly building grizzled young vets to do it?
Oh yeah, I think. Even though that makes no sense because they're both heel tag teams.
Why would the grizzled young vets win these belts to anything other than apathy from an American crowd? Oh, it's Joe Gacy's old mates that didn't do anything. All right.
They are a much better team now. They are better now than what they were, but that's because they've at least went out and done themselves.
But they're worse. I bet they're worse now than they were in NXT UK.
No, I've seen them a few times. When they're actually
NXT UK, they were really good. They were forgotten about on NXT. Utterly useless. They were involved in whatever the hell the schism was.
Yeah, that was nonsense.
And then that was it.
They have gone elsewhere and done. They have gone elsewhere and done better. I think they're more mature now than perhaps they were. I think there was a little bit of immaturity with the schism as well because they didn't know what it was. But they are certainly better now. But in hindsight, I don't think the other team is going to beat the Bucks. I still think it's FTR, and then veterans will get their hands on FTR. I think that's what they're looking for. But they're missing the trick by not getting their motorcycle machine guns, losing the Lucha Brothers. You've already lost your staple, and now you're not getting anything sufficient. If they don't have the guns compete for the tag titles on their own, then they're stupid. And absolutely, they've gone and built their credibility. And they'll go back to WWE at some point. They will. They'll go back and prove why they are one of the best tag teams in wrestling. Just like Mustafa Ali will go back and prove why he's one of the best in the world.
Well, let's see if they get to do that. Up next is a guy who probably wishes to be back in WWE because at least he would win a goddamn match. It's Pac, everybody! Everybody, give a polite golf clap to Pac as he's going to go and lose another match. Another match with this guy who turns up, challenges a champion, and loses. You've got to win one of these eventually, Pac. You can't just keep going after the world champion when he's got the belt and losing it. You have to eventually win one of these belts. I know he won the thing that Orange Cassidy had.
That is this title.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't feel like the same one, but you know what I mean.
True.
Pac just keeps showing up. They put him against Okada.
Just to before you carry on, he actually didn't just challenge Ospreay. This actually was his contendership that he actually did earn. Like, he won the thing to get this. So this was actually his title match.
So they'll always bring him in. I'm like, you can win the contenders match, and he lose the title.
That's what he did. Obviously. Yeah, he wasn't, and I've always liked Pac. I wouldn't say 1,000 times better, but he is better than Pac. But Pac is still good. But he really, I agree, he needs to stop losing.
He needs to win a title match.
Mm-hmm. He does, because he is still good.
Because you can't you threw him at Okada and he didn't win. You threw him at the world champion at some point. You obviously threw him at Kenny and he didn't win.
He got smoked.
You threw him at Ospreay, he didn't win. You threw him in the tag thing, he didn't win. He won the ladder match for the trios belt. For all that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware. He won the title match, but what does that mean for Pac? It means that he's got a new group to hang around with.
It's like we said before. It's like, well, funnily enough, it's exactly what you said before. He's more fit into the group now compared to since William Regal's left, because he's somebody's actually close relations. It's just what they're going to do with it. That's the.
I know, but why does he keep getting singles titles, man? He keeps getting. He is AEW's Dolph Ziggler. He's so good that they book him to lose because it's a good match. And that's why he doesn't win titles. But then stop booking him in the matches because it makes no fucking sense. It's like when Cody fought Nakamura 3 times last year. Like, okay, I get this is a good match. Stop, though. Please stop.
Especially when they ruin Nakamura again by just because it's just Nakamura. They just do it every opportunity they can get. It really
obviously there was no way that Will Ospreay was losing this match, but then just don't make it Pac. Just don't make it Pac. I get why you made it Pac, but don't make it Pac.
Yeah, this could have been a whole lot more interesting if it had been
someone with Jeopardy, someone you might have thought, oh, they might beat Will Ospreay, you know.
I actually wouldn't have minded if it was a rematch between Lance Archer, because they actually have good chemistry together.
Why didn't they just do a title unification match with Kazuchika Okada and just sort this fucking mess out?
I would have liked that as well, because I still would have had Okada go over. I still would have had Okada go over Ospreay.
Who's said that they throw creative at Pac and he says no? Well, that's also a possibility, but
if he says no, then you get rid of him.
If he says no, you fire him. That's the bottom line. That's what you need to do.
Every company, if you've got somebody who does not take a creative, or even if they are given creative and they don't offer an alternative that might fit and it still interests you, they just say no, you get rid, flat out. I agree, because we've said that before, that they should have unified the Continental and the All International. And it would have been a whole lot interesting, because I 100% would have said by far the best match on this card would have been a 35-minute Okada versus Ospreay match.
Exactly. Just take that 15 minutes there and take that 20 minutes there, and you got a 35-minute Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada match. No blood, no bullshit. Just have a match.
And
we know TK doesn't fire people unless forced. No, that's very true, actually.
He needs to start cutting people, though. He needs to start cutting people that are comedic acts that will never improve his company, like the Acclaimed. Like Orange Bin Bag.
But the Acclaimed sell so many of those Scissor Me Daddy t-shirts.
Well, go and scissor themselves on GWC, or go and scissor each other with Jinder Mahal.
GWC?
GCW, you know what I meant.
No, I didn't.
I don't watch that shit either. I don't watch them. Yeah, but this would, but there's no jeopardy because neither of them are in New Japan anymore. I love wrestling; it was a great thing, but that's not where it should be. But you could have had this, funnily enough, at Wrestle Dream, which is their show as well. But they could. Yeah. They need to unify.
Anyway, so the actual match, Will Ospreay and Pac did some nice stuff, and then resorted to breaking each other's necks. There's another issue that I've got with the first match. You can't build one match around neck offense and then have Pac hit 3 reverse Hurricane Ranas or Poison Ranas or whatever they're called, one of which was on the apron. And that's one thing that I really don't like about Will Ospreay's matches now, is he always... It's that whole thing of once you jump the shark, I need to jump the shark, but there's spikes on the cage. I need to jump the shark, but the shark's in a cage. The cage is electrified. Now I'm going to put fire in the cage. Now I'm going to put the smallpox virus all over the cage, and I'm going to jump over that. Will Ospreay always feels the need to go further and further and further. And for me, this match went beyond believability, because Pac should have won it via stoppage when he reverse Hurricane Rana'd him, or Poison Rana'd him. I think it is the Poison Rana, right? On the apron.
Yeah, it's the Poison Rana, yeah.
On the apron. That is one of the coolest things I've seen. And he got up less than a minute later. So then I'm like, it's Street Fighter. We're playing bloody Street Fighter.
I admit, I get your point. I actually would have had the match continue, but one thing I would have done, like you said a minute earlier, is he did it really well at All In when he sold specific moves really well. I would have sold this like I'd genuinely been killed, and you really are trying to get back up and you're failing. People are trying to stop him. He's brushing them off. He's like, no, I'm going to finish this match.
Will Ospreay's 0 to 100 is, like he goes 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds.
It's MacGyver-esque.
He does not sell for long. And it's rubbish. It's really bad, because you watch a match and you think, wow, oh no, it's fine. Or when he's every Will Ospreay match. And this is what Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega and their ilk have done to AEW's wrestling. Every single fucker does the 9 count spot. When a 9 count spot is good, you've got Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. When a 9 count spot sucks, you've got every other 9 count spot. Where Will Ospreay, he's up at 8 and he falls down again. And it's like 9, and he gets up and he falls back. And it's, he got back into the ring, he's fine. Like, just do it gradually. Like, you're down on the floor. So 3, 4, start like finding your feet. 5, you sort of stumble back a little bit. 6, you're like trying to get your breath back into you. It shouldn't be, I'm out, I'm done, I've lost the match. 9, I'm fine. And then back into the ring, I'm dead. Like, what? Make up your mind.
I am seeing this a lot with every promotion, though. Every promotion does this.
Yeah, but not as bad as Will Ospreay. Where he's like 9 and he's flat on the floor. And he'll go from flat on the floor to in the ring at before 10. It's like you've used instant recovery in 2K. It is. You just get up. I'm fine. Hey.
Yeah, it's a fair comparison. There is a few though that are like that.
And it took me out the match.
It
took me out of this match when Will Ospreay wouldn't say, because Pac hits it on him again in the ring, and I'm like, this better be the finish. I'm sat there like, this better be the finish. You can't eat 2 of these. This is stupid. And of course, no, kicked out. He's fine. He's fine. His health bar isn't empty yet. That's Will Ospreay.
I was thinking as well, it's not necessarily the finish, but what they should have done straight away after he'd done it and he is just flat there, you go straight for the Black Arrow. You really make the pain.
Like, Pac never hits the Black Arrow. The commentary on this night was fucking dreadful. But what was really bad about it was was it Shivani? When he's playing possum before Pac did it. It's like, no, Don't say that. Don't say that. I don't care if you want to seem smart. If you've got a wrestler playing possum and you've been told that's the spot, your point is not to say that. You're supposed to go, and Pac's going to go for the Black Arrow, and this is surely going to be it. And he got the knees up. It shouldn't be. Ospreay could be playing possum here. And then Pac hits the move, and Ospreay's playing possum, and Schiavone goes, "Yep, told you." Like he was patting himself on the back for it. Shut up, Tony. Shut up. You're a rubbish commentator. You suck.
I've said it before, he isn't what he once was. Like, he isn't what he once was.
I only know what he is now. And what he is now is bad.
He used to be a top 3 commentator.
Jeez, that's a strange world.
No, he genuinely used to be one of the absolute best. He's not as much. He's not the worst now, but like he isn't the worst. But he used to genuinely be right up there with Heenan and JR.
Right.
And this is like I'm saying, this was a long time ago. Like long. Well, actually, to be fair, no, I would say top 4 because Iron Mike Tenay still existed. So yeah, WCW. Yeah, WCW NWA days. He was genuinely phenomenal.
Yeah, so far we're 43 minutes into the wrestling on this show. You weigh up everything else that's to come and you think, okay. Up next, we've got a Chicago street fight between Chris Statlander and Will Nightingale. And it was a street fight. They did street fight things. I mean, this could have been the trick or street fight. This could have been the what is it they call it at Christmas? It's a reference to a movie, Miracle on something Street.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, Miracle on 34th Street fight. Yeah, it could have been any of that. It could have been the Pizza Hut Battle Royal. No, we won't go that far. But it could have been either the street fight. They just had a street fight. Or when WWE went to it was in France, wasn't it? They just did a street fight.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a street fight because it's a street fight. Okay.
Yeah. You need to give a little bit of oomph to a street fight.
Yeah, because they're so just paint by numbers. And that's not to discredit either of these people. They just did street fight things. They used a chair. They took the dive. They painted the numbers, you know? Anyway,
that's actually
anything to add to match 8?
It's actually a valid point by Catherine. If it's a street fight, they should actually be fighting in the street.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Fun fact. Only one company's ever done a street fight in the street. Only one. That was TNA. Yeah. Rhino versus Christian Cage, who actually fought in the streets.
So you're not counting. Yeah, you're not counting car parks.
No, I'm actually counting where they physically went out in the streets and were fighting.
Okay, and you're not counting bingo halls or supermarkets?
No, because they're not street fights. They are different. They're supermarket fights, and milk's going everywhere, and we know Booker T likes to get his milk all over his chin.
I want to say there is something aesthetically pleasing about seeing 2 matches with the exact same, exact 15-minute time.
And what's that?
No, I mean it just looks quite satisfying just to be like, these 2 matches each were exactly 15 minutes. They already have some streets blocked off. They could. And the thing is, if they did that, it would feel different. And then maybe you could just get them doing a street fight. Street fights these days are such a, we need a stipulation on this card. Street fight! Because you can't think of anything to actually
If you're not going to have a street fight because you're not in the streets, you just do what every normal person does. You just have something that's called no holds barred.
Exactly.
That's literally what it's there for.
Yeah.
Except
yeah.
there's no quote unquote there's no cunt punts in this.
True. I will say it was definitely better than Mariah May and Tony Storm. That was insulting. Speaking of insulting, here comes match number 9.
Which should have just been a single.
This guy has sold the world a bill of goods. Tony Khan paid that bill for his goods, and now you've got a guy who can only get onto pay-per-views. I about call them PLEs. No, that's WWE thing. Can only get onto pay-per-views due to matches that happen the weekend of the pay-per-view. Okada didn't have a match, and then Rampage and Collision happened. And that was it. Then they have a match.
True.
Okada isn't building any feuds. He's the Young Bucks' buddy, but he has very little to actually do with the Young Bucks. He's had more interaction with Mercedes Moné. I like funny Okada. Everyone bitching about Okada's bullshit. Look, I will bitch about him, and I'll take that. That's fine. My problem with Okada is that, while the body's breaking down and he can't be the same and he can't do the same, he also needs to do more. Yeah, I mean, hey,
they are leaning to that. They are leaning to that.
So if this is the match that we're doing, great. But I mean, that's 2 pay-per-views now where you've just gone, we don't have anything for this guy. Just throw him in that. And I shudder to think what they're paying him. But he is also, and I get it, the Western style's different, and Will Ospreay was already on the card, and Okada probably didn't sign so he could keep doing Japanese-style matches. There is a line between Japanese all-out style, funnily enough, for the name of the show, and what he's doing in AEW, which is he is wrestling with standard moves, standard opponents. There is no shine to him. As soon as his entrance ends, he is any other guy. And Okada wasn't like that in Japan. And I'm pretty confident that in WWE he wouldn't be like that either. And he certainly wouldn't be being used as a comedy heel in awful backstage segments with Mercedes Moné, who's another example of hugely wasted money and talent. Anyway, that's obviously, you know how I felt about this match. My best friend was in it, pardon the pun. So I kind of half paid attention.
For me, purely and simply, like, this was literally just, they didn't really build anything in that sense. They started building coincidentally during and after when they're leaning the fact that, they're going all out for, pardon the pun, they are clearly going towards Okada versus Takeshita. The thing is, though, is they should have already been doing that 2 weeks ago. They should have started building Okada versus Takeshita, funnily enough, at All In, and then you run with it. Yeah. And I still think they will run with it. I actually think it will still be good. But I think the only thing they are missing the trick on is the best way to do Okada versus Takeshita, funnily enough, involves Will Ospreay. And I'm not saying I'm not saying you make it a triple threat. It ties in what we said earlier on. Except instead of Ospreay versus Okada for the championships, unifying them both, I think you could theoretically have the moment of Takeshita under Callis' wording, of course, and his direction. He takes that title from Ospreay, and he beats Okada, and he unifies both. It looks like they're building to Takeshita being that main over the two, and they'll move on. I like Takeshita. I want to see Takeshita do better than do even better than the good stuff he already does. But it makes more sense for me if you actually have Takeshita rampage through both. Because when you actually see what he does, Takeshita's brilliant. And with Don Callis, you've got an automatic heat magnet. It will translate to Takeshita. Callis will do the work. Takeshita will just run through people.
Yeah, I think they're afraid to give Takeshita a belt right now. Yeah, but I don't get why. I mean,
I don't get why you'd be afraid to give him
he's
a belt.
done more than enough. And I thought the point of Kenny Omega giving him the win
was for that reason.
That he was then going to go on and do something. And the
problem
is...
He didn't just give him the win. He beat him back to back. He beat him back to back. And that rarely happens with Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Kenny really likes you and he trusts you, you're not beating him back to back.
Yeah, it's 1-1. And the thing is, like, Takeshita can be really, really good.
Yeah, same.
But much like with other people on this show, Tony builds them up to a point, and you want to see them get to that next level, and they just don't.
I just wonder, are they... Yeah, I wonder realistically. It's not the sense that they're afraid to go all for Takeshita. I wonder if they're waiting for something in particular to give him the push with. And for me, they already had it. Like, it's already right there. Don Callis just needs to go back and remind them. My guy right here, the Alpha, has beaten the Omega twice. Not just beaten him, brutalized him. It's right there. Just remind it and give him the fucking shot up the arse. Not in that sense.
Wondering if Takeshita was going to get a push after beating Kenny twice because of Omega saying so. Then Kenny got hurt. If you were going to give Takeshita a push, the opportunity to do it was after he beat Kenny twice, and rather than having perfectly established no need for him to win the world title, Samoa Joe beat MJF. You find a way to get the belt onto Takeshita, because it's not like Samoa Joe was a face.
No.
MJF was the face. So you have Takeshita do it, and then you've potentially made someone. He's beaten some of the goats of the wrestling world, but has he beaten Danielson?
Takeshita? I don't actually think he's... They haven't wrestled one-on-one, I don't think, Takeshita.
So maybe he could have been in line for that, but now he's distracted with this title that shouldn't exist. And there's a ceiling on it. You're the Continental Champion. There's a ceiling on it. There just is.
I would have unified... The minute Okada won that title from Kingston, he should have immediately went after the international champion at the time. He should have taken that title and merged them both together. And he went, I don't give a shit about this Continental tournament. I'm just the one true champion.
Would that have been Roderick Strong at the time?
Yes.
I agree. He should have taken him for all he was worth.
And to be honest, I actually would have loved it, because to be fair, I really enjoyed Okada versus Roderick Strong at it was a Ring of Honor event they did. It was the one they did in the stadium. They actually did on the baseball field. There was a baseball stadium. They actually had an event there, and they wrestled for like 20 minutes. They wrestled for like 20 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Okada was in his, I think it was his second reign as IWGP champion, and he came to Wrestle Strong, and it was genuinely really good. I can't remember the name of the fucking event though. 2 seconds. Like, I've seen the match, I just cannot remember the name of the. I just can't remember the name of the event.
Yeah, I'll let you find that. And I mean, you know, poor Mark Briscoe. Man's a world. I mean, is he actually? I'm not going to confidently state that. I was going to say he's a world champion. He might not be anymore. Who watches Ring of Honor?
Field of Honor.
Field of Honor, right?
Field of Honor. Yeah, they wrestle. It is on YouTube. It's like it's a 20-minute match. It's actually really good. I know you'd like it.
And it's
Prime Ring of Honor.
All right. And is Mark Briscoe still a world champion?
For Ring of Honor, yeah.
So he's still right. So why did he care?
He just really likes orange nut job. Or
Also,
orange balls, whatever it is now.
Yeah, help me very
like
quickly. The
It would be great to have
conglomeration is him, Orange Cassidy, and Kyle O'Reilly, right?
Yes, Kylie O'Reilly is in this tag team, yeah.
Right.
Well, this group.
Are they actually a team?
I think they're just there.
And what do they conglomerate over? What was the? That's the best answer you could have given, because I bet you it's something really obvious, and you're just like,
they're just,
I don't know.
Put it this way, this is what I compare them to. It's like playing GTA 5, and then you've got all the main characters together right beside you for one scene, and then you realize that Franklin's a dick, and then you just beat the shit out of Franklin. One of these three is the Franklin in that group.
Interesting.
And I think it's Orange Cassidy.
They're just there because they're yeah.
But are
you
they
could say
really
that for.
But are they really a TK favorite? Because when you look at how he's used, I think less of a favorite, to be honest, is probably Kyle O'Reilly. Because I think Kyle O'Reilly isn't necessarily a TK favorite. I think he's more of a Christopher Daniels favorite.
Kyle O'Reilly has been completely wasted.
He's been wasted since leaving NXT. And
he's been wasted arguably worse than Jay White has.
He's alright. But he should have beaten MJF in that fucking world title match, so I still stand by it. But at least he's not completely irreparable. Like, he is capable, because Jay White is fantastic. Kyle O'Reilly only fit NXT because NXT was right there from Ring of Honor. AEW don't know what to do with Kyle O'Reilly, because when you look at it, I don't think they actually, whoever was there, I think the only one who generally watched Kyle O'Reilly in NXT, apart from the Undisputed guys, is probably Christopher Daniels. I don't think Tony Khan did, because I think he was more just like sense of like he only wanted his eyes on Adam Cole. Because
Tony Khan also overbooked this entire thing to shit. Because if you're going to have Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, why not just group them back together? Why did the Kingdom have to be involved? Why pretend that Kyle O'Reilly isn't going to join Roderick Strong and then actually go, no, Kyle O'Reilly isn't going to join Roderick Strong? Then guess what happened? Roderick Strong beat Kyle O'Reilly, and Kyle O'Reilly didn't matter anymore.
Not only did he beat him at Battle of the Belts, which no one watches anyway.
Exactly, he beat him in the dark.
It's like WWE main event. It just exists. Battle of the Belts.
It's NXT level up. Just no one cares.
I've never liked the Battle of the Belt shows.
Or is it called Next Level? I forget what it's called.
Well, it's still NXT level up, but I'm assuming the geeks will call it. Well, the lesser geeks will call it Next Level Up because they're weirdos.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're on to number 10, and I don't want to talk about it for very long, because this is baffling to me. How you can sign someone for this much money and they can't. This is the Antony of wrestling.
That's a good point. If they're going to battle the belts, then have belts change.
Exactly. They never change.
Hold on. Let me add to that. If you're going to have battle of the belts, please don't have a title eliminator match.
No, these are the stupid. I hate them. I hate them so much. They happen all the time.
I actually missed something from wrestling in general that really was fun for many a fucking decade. I missed the ranking system. There, I said it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say beat the clock.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I miss the ranking system, and it's fucking CM Punk's fault, the bitch. Like, that absolute fraud was like, no, we don't need it anymore. It actually matters. Like a ranking system is fun because you can actually see who your top contenders are, and you actually have them compete.
But you can have title eliminators and tournaments and title eliminators, and you can vacate belts and have title eliminators and tournaments.
Yeah, but you don't even get the same bloody equivalent in WWE. You just get, oh, by the way, you were a former champion, but your rematch clause is no longer valid. You have to compete for your rematch clause. No. By right, you lost your title to it.
I'm fine without rematch clauses being mandatory.
Well, for me, it should be mandatory. You should have at least one.
No, I think it's fine.
I think if you lose your if you lose your title, and you don't even get a chance to at least get an automatic chance to even get it back.
Oh, if you lose, it's different.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what annoyed me, and I'm actually gonna use a perfect example because she's in this match. Hikaru Shida last year lost her freaking championship before All In. She was forced to earn her way into the Fatal 4-Way, whereas Toni Storm, who's incredible, was just given an automatic bye into the fucking Fatal 4-Way. Hikaru Shida should have been the one that was given automatic bye.
I thought you were going to say that Shida lost her belt, so she should have just got this automatically. I was like, one, she basically did, and two, it wasn't this belt. But anyway,
yeah, but I'm just using her as an example where she actually did lose it.
So here comes.
In fact, not actually your non-favorite wrestler in the world didn't even get an automatic rematch clause if you think about it. When Moxley lost to Omega in 2021, he actually didn't get his rematch clause either. If you think about it.
TK can't do that because his favorites may not be in the rankings. I mean, I'll be honest, it would be really impressive to book your own wrestling show, decide on a ranking system, say that the people who rank best are going to be like champions and contenders and stuff, and somehow you don't put your favorites high up in the rankings. If you're pulling all the strings.
If I'm being completely honest, if I'm booking a ranking systems for the AEW World Title, for example, my 1 to 10 is very bloody easy. Obviously, they can interchange.
Easy, but they also have 17 million wrestlers. So
yeah, but if I'm just picking 10, for example, it's dead easy for me. It doesn't have to be an order of who's 1 to 10. I can just name 10 wrestlers, and that is the ranking that bloody should be.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have anything to say about Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida?
I do, and I will reiterate what I said the last time I spoke to you. This match was overshadowed by the woman who was banned from ringside. Because the better wrestler out of the three of them, as much as I like Shida, I still like Mercedes Moné, but she is losing her appeal in every shape or form in wrestling. The better... Like, even if she went back to WWE, she would still be boring as piss. And I like her. I'm just saying she bores me on every level now. Like, she hasn't had a good wrestling match since the Kairi Sane match before she got injured.
But what do you think of a potential power couple between her and Okada?
No, I don't want her anywhere near Okada. Keep the fucking away.
Well,
like,
you know,
just keep. No. Just fuck off. Stay away from him. The better wrestler out of these two is the woman that was banned from ringside. Camille Blackheart is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
It's weird. It's weird that Camille's just not been allowed to do anything. And the thing is, right, it's because they're going like, but wait for Camille to turn on Mercedes. It's like, you're going to do it too late, Tony.
She should have, you know when she should do it? Yeah, Britt Baker loves the sandbag because she's an absolute tart.
You know when she should have done it? When she showed up.
I think she's the one that has bumped about Mercedes Moné. I think I've said it like a while ago that she's the one that took her out, but she should have done it the minute the. Actually, will it happen yet? The way that she's talking, that everything is about her. I think you've got to only just give it one more pay-per-view. I think that's the tolerance. After the next pay-per-view, if Camille Blackheart has not turned on her, then I don't know how much longer you can go it, because Camille Blackheart has already done the bodyguard shit. She was a bodyguard for Aldis, and then she went and had an 800-day reign as NWA Women's Champion because she's generally that bloody good. You cannot stall Camille. If you stall Camille, then there's something wrong with you, because she is.
If they're easing Camille back in the ring because she had that knee injury, right? So what they do is, right, they have Camille cut an awful promo about how she was maybe kind of sort of injured by somebody, and she won't actually say what it is, and then they'll have a match on pay-per-view that's gonna suck. The same way that Monet did with Willow Nightingale. Because she wouldn't just outright say Willow broke my leg. It was like, I was in a match and it nearly ended my career. And Willow, I think you were to blame for that. And Willow wasn't. Mercedes broke her own leg in that match.
That's very true. And also, if you look at it, who's the better worker? Willow Nightingale.
By a
landslide.
Willow right now. Absolutely.
What's even more interesting, and this is a genuine fact, this match here, for example, didn't need a match stipulation, right? Because these two on their own can have a better working match than these two anyway.
Yeah.
Because Shida and Mercedes Moné haven't got the chemistry for it. There was no chemistry between Shida and Mercedes Moné. And that's not Shida's fault. Shida's generally a good worker. Mercedes Moné just isn't giving to it.
She's not trying because she doesn't have to. Because she believes the voices in her own head telling her that she's the best and she's fantastic and she doesn't need to do anything different. And all these fans that, aren't reacting to her, well, they're just jealous. And, I don't know what she's hearing when she enters. She's obviously hearing her own music and going, oh, the fans, they love me. And it's literally just the music. People do not care. She'd have got pissed in this match and start wrestling stiff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because Mercedes Moné genuinely pissed. Mercedes Moné is just the Eddie Guerrero supporting version of Britt Baker. And I hate Britt Baker. If you actually look at it, when they are specifically with someone they don't like or have no connection with, they will do absolutely everything possible to jeopardize them. And I'm going to put the comparison. Mercedes has jeopardized Shida, even though Shida's had a brilliant career in AEW. Britt Baker fucking jeopardized Thunder Rosa. Not just because of that cage match, but she jeopardized her because of what she did on that stupid behind-the-scenes show when she said that when she drove Thunder Rosa out of AEW.
Yeah. It was very, very petty.
They disgraced Thunder Rosa when Thunder Rosa did nothing wrong. And Catherine, I know you hate Thunder Rosa, but you can't fucking argue on that.
What do you think of Athena versus Monet? Ember Moon versus Sasha Banks? Sure.
Athena would rip her apart. Like, she would rip her apart.
The thing is, if it was Ember Moon versus Sasha Banks, I'd probably care more because the two of them would have to be fired up enough to deliver a match. Monet's just going to show up. She's just going to turn up, just do what she does, drag her feet.
Just give me Deonna Purrazzo breaking her arm and getting rid of her for good. I don't care. I can be extremely satisfied.
What we've said about Daniel Garcia on this show is that he's one of Tony's guys and he's got a ceiling and he'll never get there. We also just said it, I think, about Orange Cassidy, and I think we also said it about Takeshita. We may have also said it about Pac. There are some guys on this show.
Takeshita has a chance, though.
Get pushed and then dropped. Why are we dropping these people and letting Jack Perry challenge for a world title? It's honestly just so beneath Bryan Danielson to be fighting this match. And here's the thing. These guys think they're doing a bloodline.
Go on.
They're doing a bloodline. They think these matches need the ref, but this match was meh, and then they did the ref bump, and proof that the Young Bucks are some of the stupidest wrestlers in history. They come down after the ref bump to go and attack Perry.
True. Yep.
So to go and attack Danielson, to go and help Perry. But the Young Bucks, the EVPs of this company, didn't bring a referee. They didn't bring a second ref.
They would have got, but if they had brought a second ref, even though they're in control, that referee would still have authority to disqualify. And
no, because they'd be the EVP's ref. The whole point of screwing someone over as a heel is that it's supposed to be, I just screwed you over.
No, I suppose like Prime NWO, before every match literally just became a DQ finish, they did have a referee in their back pocket, Nick Patrick, until he eventually turned it around. No, yeah, fair enough.
So why don't EVPs have their own referee? And then the thing is, if Christopher Daniels goes, no, we're not having that, that's at least something. But it just made them look really, really stupid, because they came out like, we're going to attack you now the ref's down. But also, we run the company and could just bring a ref out.
I really would have actually liked if they had added more to the whole Daniel's power versus the EVP's power, and who actually has the control, and you see what happens.
Yeah, they sort of do. Bryce travels with them all the time. So here's Bryce! Hey, Bryce, go and do us a favour.
He was too busy pushing the leg. That part, out the whole match, that's the only part that let me down.
Oh, true. Bryce couldn't have done it because he's the actual. It would have to be someone else.
Like that's the only part of the match that actually let me down. Was that
have Aubrey come down so she could be in the main event like she always wants to be.
She really is boring. She annoys me for different reasons, but I actually thought Jack Perry gave himself a good showing. The only thing that really annoyed me was genuinely the ref moment where he actually stopped the count. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I criticised the referee when he refused to count Roman Reigns down, that fucking last man standing when he was handcuffed.
Yep.
I was critical of the referee who stopped counting for LA Knight because he helped Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. I am not going to be a hypocrite and defend Bryce when he pushed the leg. Just fucking count. If you can't kick out, continue the count.
They're told to call it as a shoot, so call it as a shoot and work out the shit later.
Exactly.
That's what they should do.
But they don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it really annoys me. It's all wrestling companies that do it. It pisses me off.
This match isn't going to be on Bryan Danielson's highlight reel. This match is barely going to be remembered in Bryan Danielson's career. Bryan Danielson's not going to remember this match.
He's probably already forgotten. He's probably already forgotten it.
It was so meh. Like, there was nothing to this. And if they didn't have what's coming next as the main event, imagine leaving people on this show on this match. I would have preferred it personally, but we'll get to that.
I think in circumstance, what's hilarious, and this is my view on it, this match wasn't about, funnily enough, the wrestling. This should have been Jack Perry's moment of, well, like I said about Daniel Garcia earlier on, funnily enough, I'm here to prove everyone wrong, in a way. What is funny, this match should have been who does the running knee better.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because, not to be honest, but I actually think the way that Jack Perry does it is actually really... I know it's a similar version to Danielson's, but I actually like Jack Perry's running bicycle knee. I actually do like it. But I don't know, like, he's already got the TNT title. If he's trying to establish I'm doing my own career after what happened before, then fine. I thought there was a chance here for them to have a great match. That's why I openly said I think they've got a good chance here. And it was It wasn't bad. It was just, as you said, it was just there.
It was just, yeah.
It was just Cody versus Solo.
It was Damian Priest Jey Uso is what I was going to say.
That's another fair comparison.
It was
maybe
there.
It
was a match.
Maybe did it because Danielson's just a babyface to try and get more heat on Perry. You could have got more heat on Perry by Perry, ironically, getting involved in the main event and proving that former friendships don't matter to the new elite. And I absolutely love this main event.
No.
Yeah, I loved it. Apart from one thing that to me made no sense. I loved the main event for what they were actually looking for. And I will fundamentally understand people's point of view. I love it for a different reason. And if anyone figures it out before I reveal it, then credit to you. If you can figure it out, then I'll tell you. But yeah.
Go ahead.
Because people complain that they don't do stories.
Hey, sorry. We've glossed over something. We glossed over a big something. We've just ended that on saying that it was a main event. We've glossed over the attempted murder of Bryan Danielson.
Oh, I thought you were moving on to that. See, I also weirdly enough liked that as well.
Why? Why did you like that?
Because it reminded me of somebody I did a beautiful tribute show to last year. It reminded me.
I get that it's a Terry Funk thing, but still, no.
It was.
Bad.
It was Terry Funk. It was that. Although it annoys me that I have to praise someone. It annoys me that I have to praise Eddie Kingston. Because that no good, fat, boring, bearded, ugly, dog-faced gremlin previously said that Claudio Castagnoli is a snake. And ironically enough, it does tie back to what William Regal did say a couple of years ago before he got bumped out of AEW, when all he needs to do is wait for Jon Moxley to wake up. And he'll realise what he needs to do to get rid of Danielson and all that shit, because he's the way it's going. I understand why they did the plastic bag. I do. I like that they went to that level. But as I said...
Why? Why do you like that they went to that level?
Because I also like what's happened in previous companies before for the same reason. However, as I've always said, and I will never change my point of view on this, I like it when it actually tells to the people that matter. So that's why I absolutely love, bar one moment in the main event, I love the main event for exactly what it was. The plastic bag, I loved it, but they didn't need a plastic bag to do it. They should have done what Funk did, which was similarly a bag, but it wasn't a plastic bag. And yeah, there was a shock in it. It really was a shock. Like, that was a genuine shock. But I'm going to say this as well. And I'm going to read it back. And I'm going to bring back some gruesome shit that people won't like. I think he's an absolute miserable bastard. But I love the fact that Jim Cornette fell off a scaffold in 1980s. I love the fact that Big Boss Man got hung from the Hell in a Cell in 1999. Even though that was barbaric. And I like the fact that they went so far as to put Paul Bearer in a fucking crypt with cement in 2004. My only concern is you gotta do where it's right. And it only worked, stupidly enough, it only works in the main event. Moxley doesn't need to try to kill Danielson. He just needs to absolutely eviscerate him. If he's
Moxley just wants to be this movie badass, basically, and he was like, I'm gonna, he thinks he's like Liam Neeson, basically.
That's a great viewing.
Catherine, I'll tell you where the outrage was. It was on this channel. It was from me. it was dumb there. Darby being hung upside down. That
was
was
weird.
dumb. Darby being tied up in every match. We've had this conversation. Darby
To be
Allin's
to be fair, I also criticized parts as well because I criticized the super kick with the shoes on. I went with the specific shoes they wore when they had them hung upside down. I didn't like that.
Yeah, no.
But then again, I'm sick of Darby Allin being hung upside down. That man, like I said last week, he's got a real. Like we've said before, he's got a real fetish. Like he has a strange fetish for being hung upside down.
Yeah,
being tied up.
Yeah, exactly. Tied up, thrown in bags and stuff. And hey, you do you. We've clearly all got quirks, but I don't. You know, it's like I'm not charging people to go to my TikTok and look at my videos. They can do that for free. You're charging people $50 to watch you get thrown into a bag and tied up.
There is only one time where I will openly and honestly say I hated an extreme match for what it was. And we've had this, funnily enough, we've had this before as a quiz question, but that's because this match genuinely beat the fuck out of me, and it was as I was growing up. Well, very young growing up. The only extreme level match that has genuinely terrified me was, thankfully, not the TNA version of it, because luckily he was a lot more wiser in this, but it was the Sabu all barbed wire match in ECW that will never be shown again, that will never happen again, because that was extreme level of barbaric that should never have happened. It's the only match that has genuinely terrified me, and I wasn't even alive to watch it then. I've watched it back, and it scared the shit out of me.
This is where I come on like, oh, come on everyone, play nice, but I don't think any of it belongs in wrestling. I don't need to see you attempt murder on any of the wrestlers, because here's the thing. If Moxley's trying to get Danielson's attention, he doesn't need to go out and suffocate him. He just needed to go and hit a move, and it would have got the same level. It would have got the same level of point in the story. Okay, there was more shock factor, but this almost felt like they were going, we're getting to the grisly stuff now. Here's an attempted murder. The second of the night, of course, because in the first match, there was attempted murder in the aftermath. When the Derby segment happened, no one was screaming to cancel AEW. I've been screaming to cancel AEW since they did this shit the first time. I've been screaming. I think I fully voiced my concern for cancelling all of the AEW shit, and you'd have to go back and look at it. But it's whenever Jon Moxley fought Hangman Page, and they used the brick,
the death match.
That it was, I think, maybe Texas Death Match or whatever.
To be fair, that was
matches.
That wasn't the match that you begged for their cancellation. To be fair, I know what match it was that you begged for them to be cancelled for, and it was a match that I absolutely adored. It was, funnily enough, involving your favorite move. It involved the Tiger Driver.
Oh well, yeah, that was stupid too. But you know, there were so many. There's been so many in AEW that I'm like, just don't do it. Just don't. You don't need to. It's not adding anything, and I only remember it because it's so stupid. It's not leaving the positive impression. I don't watch this stuff happen and think, I want to see that match. TK grew up with ECW, so I can see him doing crazy. That's fine. You know, if it's a matter of personal taste, then cool. I thought this was tasteless, and it's the reason why I'm an e-drone. I do not have time for this in wrestling.
Ironically enough, I also grew up with ECW, but I've always said who my favourite ECW wrestlers were. My favourite ECW wrestlers were Taz and Raven. Now, Raven did do the barbaric shit, and to be fair, I love Shane Douglas as well. Higher up than I do RVD. The reason being is because they all worked the variety of the barbaric, but they worked amazing wrestling matches in a company that actually loved a technical wrestling style. At the time in 1997, when Taz was absolutely at his best, he was genuinely being asked to wrestle Bret Hart, champion versus champion. But instead, they went for an even bigger iconic match, which was Funk versus Bret Hart. And that went for 48 minutes. And that is one of the best matches of the 90s. but I love Raven for his blend of creativity with his style, and also the fact he could wrestle. Same with Shane Douglas, more than RVD, and I love RVD, but it was more those guys caught my attention, not because of the barbaric shit, but because they could actually work, and it's often slept on, unfairly slept on. Same with Darby Allin. Darby Allin can actually freaking wrestle. The problem is he loves so much of the high angle spots that I've already said before. Just cut that down, let him wrestle, do it once and now and again, like once in a blue moon.
No, I agree. My favourite ECW wrestler is Ezekiel Jackson. Anyway, on to the main event.
Yeah,
where
that is not funny.
We're talking about
cool.
barbaric stuff. Well, this
was supposed to be.
This was absolutely horrible. This was
supposed to be this.
It was stupid.
Why? The one part was.
Why do this? Why do any of it? Why this happen?
For once, they've actually prolonged this longer than anything they actually could. This has went on for a year. I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, we do this death match after one guy's beaten the other guy 3 times.
Well, it's 2-1.
And it's other death matches. It's 3-1.
Swerve's only beaten him twice.
3 times.
Did he beat him twice?
I thought he beat him 3 times.
No, he was going to beat him the 3rd time. This would have been the 3rd win, but he didn't do it. I'm sure he's beaten him twice.
Listen, I understand the storyline that they were telling. I understand it. Swerve invaded his home, and so Hangman's burning down Swerve's house. And Hangman's so fixated on Swerve, and Swerve becomes world champion. And Hangman, it's only 2-1, is it? Only 2-1, right?
Yeah.
Still, feud should be done. You've had 2 horrible matches. Just move the fuck on. But no, these guys, they are in the same ilk as Darby Allin. They're what, and fucking John Moxley. They're just watching this fucking dungeon porn and just getting off on it. Like, oh, what can I do? What can I do to torture my body more? What if I take a power bomb? What if I take a power bomb on cinder block? Oh, wow! People will be creaming over that, and the crowd's going, "Yeah, we love that. We absolutely love that." It's horrible. It's like the Colosseum, and you want the lion to win. It's like the bullfighting, and you're not going to be happy until the bull rips the matador in half in front of you, and the entrails go all over your body. It's
Can the matador be Cody Rhodes every time he mentions his dad?
AEW are GCW with a budget. They're CZW with a budget because they do this shit again and again and again and again and again. And they always, as I said about Will Ospreay, jump in the shark in the electric cage, jump in the shark with the electric cage and it's on fire, jump in the shark, the electric cage, it's on fire, and you're being chased by ninjas and you're upside down. They just feel the need to do more and fucking more and fucking more. And the worst part is, this isn't even the first fucking time they've used a needle in a match. It's not the first time that they've used a needle in a match. First time they used a needle in the match was the fucking tooth and nail thing from way back when. And you would think, you would watch that. It was tooth and nail. It was first year of AEW. In fact, they've learned from that, but it just went on and fucking on with barbed wire and chains and glass and spikes to the eyes and fireballs and this, that, the next thing, exploding shoes, exploding chairs, thumbtack shoes. It's anything they can get to get a pop out of these sick freaks that just want to see the next cool thing. And I'm telling you now, the people that cheer this fucking wrestling are going to be the first people to be clutching their pearls when one of them fucking dies in the ring because something goes wrong. You went, oh, how'd that happen? And a man who's 35 just dies in the ring in front of you, then all of a sudden you'll be like, that deathmatch wrestling then. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. The fact that there was a powerbomb on a cinder block, and that's not even the most notable fucking spot of this match. There was dentistry. There was a needle of stuff.
I wanted to go a whole show without that being brought up.
All I'll say is, it wasn't a death match.
No, but it was a fucking death. Are we actually going to remember as well? No, I can't do that to you. I can't do that to you. No, I'm not going to bring it up.
I know Rey Mysterio killed someone in the ring. I know.
Well, he technically did. He technically didn't, but it happened to him.
Yeah.
That shit can happen anywhere. It can happen.
Exactly. So why the fuck are we doing this?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the reason. Because every single wrestling promoter all has, ironically, one thing in common. They all do not care how much of a thrill they'll get by getting the level so high that you get the ultimate thrill with the ultimate consequence. And I'll say this now, Triple H will be the exact same.
Triple H isn't going to book a 5th of this, a 10th of this, 1/20th of this. He is not going to go fucking far. Barbed wire is not going to appear in WWE. It's not.
I wouldn't doubt
it's not appearing in WWE.
It will, and I'll tell you why it will appear.
Why would it?
I'll tell you why it will appear. Because first of all, they're going back to 2 hours of Raw. Smart move at last.
Right. That wouldn't matter.
But they're also moving on to the one place where it'll be completely acceptable. They're moving to Netflix.
They're still kid-oriented.
Not for much
They're
longer.
still family-oriented.
Fuck the kids.
Absolutely
not in that way. I'm quoting Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely not, though. Absolutely not.
I genuinely think at some point you will see it, but I'm not saying they're going to book the level of killing someone, but there will be something booked to the extent that there will be a genuine mistake. I'm not advocating death. I'm saying there will be a genuine mistake, and there was genuinely a mistake the last time I saw a really good Hell in a Cell, which I want to bring up very shortly. A lot of people have got an issue with hepatitis, or they're bringing hepatitis into wrestling, which I've seen many people bring up, which I find very, very bizarre. They also brought in Bob Orton, who had hepatitis C, and they got him involved in a Hell in a Cell with a man who was actually cut. I'm sorry, but you've got to be careful of that.
Right. One thing we've always got to be careful of here, right?
It's a well-known fact.
We've got to be careful of this here, because, and the best comparison I can draw, not so much because I've actually watched the films, but because I've listened to a lot of film coverage.
Go on.
Don't defend something by going back to the past and shitting on something else.
I don't defend it. I thought that was horrible as well.
But for the people who are defending this death match, don't let your defense be WWE used to do it.
That's not my defense of it at all. I have one criticism of this match, and I've said it. I hated the needle spot, but I like the fact they went so violent because it represents everything they're trying to take from each other. I didn't agree with the needle spot.
And if someone could tell me as well, this really highbrow story that apparently we can't pick up without Hangman putting a needle into Swerve, without them doing a powerbomb on a cinder block, without just every barbaric thing. What is further than the storyline? You know, the cinder block was relevant because Swerve used it on Keith Lee, who doesn't matter here.
I think it's purely just they will use the story is literally as like what I've always taken as the approximation. It's always purely any means necessary for either one of them to get rid of the other, because it's got to the point now where they've literally coined it as, and I believe it as a genuine statement. It's like the old adage of where you want to say top guys, but one of them is where you have two top guys And it's literally, this company is not big enough for the two of them anymore. It's ironically enough, it's like you cannot have, and if you're going to go past comparisons, I will. It's like if you got WWE 1997, you cannot have Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels coexisting with anymore because they genuinely hate each other.
They didn't do an attempt to murder.
No, they didn't. I'm just using an example. You cannot have those two together anymore. You can't have Tommy Dreamer with Raven anymore because they genuinely hate each other from childhood. They genuinely hate each other. So you can't have that anymore. You can't have Hogan with anyone because Hogan's a cunt. You can't have Ric Flair with... Ironically, if you can't have Ric Flair with Hogan either because they just don't work as a bloody WrestleMania main event. That's why it never happened. When it gets to the point of how far are you willing to go, they're going to do it. They're not going to kill each other.
WWE just
they're going to aim for it.
That when you do a feud that's about this town ain't big enough for the two of us, you still don't need to resort to GBH. You don't need to resort to attempted murder. No, but Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are telling the exact same sort of fucking story. And I know which feud I would rather sign up to be a part of.
And I think that's fair. I actually think that's fair, and that's why I'm not disagreeing.
So what I'm saying is, because you got to watch, Catherine, when you say like the E-drones won't get it. At its core, it's the exact same story. Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, neither wants the other guy in the company. And it's elevated and elevated and elevated. What have they done? They've had a special referee match. They've had a strap match.
Killer now. You're getting to that killer match now.
Okay, what they're going to do? A Hell in a Cell. It's a Hell in a Cell. It's not going to be a Hell in a Cell with real glass Crimea River and needles and bricks. It's going to be a Hell in a fucking Cell match. Like we've been seeing for 40 fucking years.
Well, not really, because if you include all the Hell in a Cells that Roman Reigns has had, then they're not really Hell in a Cells. They're just pissants in a cage match.
But it's fine. The stipulations, fine.
That's just me saying everything once.
What they do. And the difference is, the real difference is, it's not even a Triple H Tony Khan thing. Because it's not purely a Triple H Tony Khan thing.
And it should be.
This is a CM Punk Drew McIntyre Swerve Strickland Hangman Page thing.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are there to make money, and Swerve and Hangman are there to keep the AEW crowd shocked. They're all about shock factor. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is about telling a story. It's been about telling a story when they battle each other. When Punk cost Drew in Glasgow, so Drew goes and beats Punk up in Chicago. That makes perfect sense. What doesn't make perfect sense? I tried to cost you the world title, and it worked, but I wasn't really the reason for it. So you've just bought that nice house for yourself. I'm going to go burn it down because you invaded my home last year.
Yeah.
Which again, it's also a case of, okay, so no one's really a babyface here. No one's really the one that you want to cheer. But also, why that? Why now? How can you do that on TV and get away with it? How is your only punishment for burning down a fucking house? You've got to have a cage match. It doesn't make any sense storyline wise. Why did he burn down the house? Why did he resort to that?
Because it was at that stage now where everything's gone, he's went, I'm going to have to just resort to the one thing that matters most. Memory.
They keep fucking wrestling like this. Neither of them's going to have fucking memory.
Which is another valid point. And I've said it before, I only had one problem with it. There was no, maybe the bricks. Maybe two. The only thing necessarily they didn't need from this was that needle.
What was in it?
I honestly don't know.
Did they tell you on Dynamite? Did they say?
No. I doubt there was anything. There was probably something in it. I don't like juice or something. They won't put something else in.
Is it like the Impact bit where Dr. Stevie drugs a bit? I don't think it actually happened, but it's like an infamous Impact script that they didn't go with. No, but I mean storyline. What did he do? I don't mean what was actually in it. I mean storyline wise, what the fuck did he do?
I think they aim for that. If you're looking at what he's done to him, I don't think necessarily he's trying to drug him, because then you would have had a whole lot more of a conversation. I think the aim for that was whatever he's put in there was just to like disable him, like, you know, to completely like make him ineffective.
What was?
I don't know. I don't.
They need to tell us that. We need to know what was in there. It can't just be he had a needle of stuff. That's, as I say, it's like this Impact bit. If you don't know it, I genuinely can only access it through a Jim Cornette thing. It's a TNA script that didn't happen. I don't think they actually did it.
It was
Stevie Richards. Stevie Richards drugs Abyss with blank.
Yeah,
they didn't name the drug because they couldn't.
It was before Cornette got fired, funnily enough.
Yeah, they didn't name the drug because they couldn't name the drug, and
he approved it, which is weird.
It's the same. Don't tell him he approved it.
Because he did, whether he likes it or not, he approved it.
He won't agree. He won't agree to that.
I know he won't because he's a twat, but it's true. Like, well, he's not fully a twat, but he is a twat because he actually did prove that with Richards. They actually went, well, let's just test the waters further. I mean, for God's sake, you had one man getting a taser in the balls.
Yeah, but I was awake for 3 hours after watching this show.
Really?
Finished at about 11 o'clock because I watched it on a replay, and I was so just what the fuck by it that I wasn't asleep till like 2 a.m. Between suffocation, attempted neck breaking, and needle, I just didn't know what to do. I was like, is this wrestling anymore? Do I want to watch this? And I went back and I watched the Drew McIntyre CM Punk promo, the first one, from the start of this great feud, and it reminded me why I love wrestling again. I needed that reminder because this show was so far outside what I want to see and what many fans want to see. And you talk about why AEW aren't getting into the mainstream. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it forever. If you keep doing this shit, you run off fans like me, and I'm not the only one who doesn't want to see this. I'm not the only one in my family who doesn't want to fucking see this. No one in my family wants to see it. There are 7 wrestling fans in my family. None of them want to see it. None of them. Count my fiance's family, there's another 4 in there. They don't want to fucking see it either.
I don't want to see it all the time. I've always said that. I don't always need it.
But
I know what I want. I know what I want from wrestling. I've always wanted a specific way of wrestling. It isn't necessarily this. It isn't necessarily the boredom that is a Roman Reigns ref bump.
Or Randy Orton Gunther.
There's a specific way of wrestling that I want. The problem
is this man right here.
Not Seth Rollins, but ironically, he does ideally like the way I like. I've always said my favorite wrestling style has always been the man who hasn't been in like Annoyingly, he was retired by Goldberg. But I still like the prime TNA days because that actually had what I liked. I liked the prime New Japan days. I actually, funnily enough, I liked when WWE did it in 2016, 2017, 2018. Then they fucking abandoned it for ref bumps. They actually abandoned good match-based storyline with added story to it in favor of Roman Reigns lines up a Superman punch. Roman Reigns misses. The referee is down. Oh wait, now we need to have an Uso fuckfest in the ring. Jey Uso's climbing up Jimmy's arse. There you go. Oh, now the referee's back up. 1, 2, kick out. Roman Reigns, spear. I don't want to watch that shit.
Are you talking about our tribal chief?
Fuck the tribal chief. I'm your tribal chief. I'm just kidding. But, like, I like how method.
Acknowledge him.
No. I can't. I can't for one distinct reason. And ironically enough, you're going to hate me for it.
Go on then.
But it ties into what you said about this. And you're absolutely going to hate me for it. It ties into what I've highlighted. Because all he has, ironically, is his match. Same with Ric Flair. Except Ric Flair had a match that you couldn't break, and that was his Wrestle War against Ricky Steamboat because it wasn't a Flair match. But I don't like people who only... all you're going to see is the one thing, and it's not going to be a mix-up. It's like why people moan that The Undertaker isn't great. That's a lie. They always say, oh, he always hits old school. No, that's a lie. There was moments where he actually had it changed, where he would say, I'm going to do the old school spot, but you're going to counter it because it's going to make the match different. Flip it up. Change the script. Instead of a ref bump, have something else. But no, it's always got to be, hiya, how you doing? 5 minute stare down. Now we're going to have a 20-minute
the last point I want to make on this, because Catherine's put another comment in. And by the way, absolutely no hard feelings sort of thing. Not, we're going back and forth on this, but really do appreciate your comments. And I like you fueling the conversation like this, to be fair. It's good.
I'd rather people just say the truth.
It's good to have opposition. What I will say to this is once in a while is fine. The whiles are too frequent. I mean, they're too frequent for me because they happen at all. But even if you're talking about once in a while, they did Anarchy in the Arena. That would count as one of these fuck fests.
I've never really liked Anarchy in the Arena.
No, but it counts as one of these. Just we do anything, that was when Darby Allin got tied upside down. So they do Anarchy in the Arena every single year. They do at least 3 lights out matches every single year. That's with before you...
With no abuse, just to add to this comment.
Absolutely. With, they do stuff with the barbed wire all the time. Even if we go outside of like jokey hardcore, like when Hook was using cricket balls, which is actually quite dangerous, believe it or not.
It was. I'm annoyed that I missed it. I'm kind of glad that I did because after what you told me the last time I seen you, because I actually went and watched highlights of a cricket game recently just to see how bad a cricket ball is, and I seen one where the bat actually snapped in half.
Well, if it's getting hurled at any sort of speed by someone who knows how to do it, and you ain't padded, you're gonna sting. You're gonna sting. No, but I feel like they're really frequent. I feel like it feels like every show, and I'll be honest. Obviously, it's funny for me to come on here and be like, I hate AEW. The problem is they just turned the corner. And this is where AEW are the Manchester United of pro wrestling. You think they've turned the corner. You think they're doing better. And then, no, we continue going the way that we were going before. Because after All In and Wembley, I was like, wow, that was a respectable event. That was good. That was actually really good. You know, for the AEW standard that I set, enjoyable. I didn't feel insulted.
I've just been insulted.
It was impressive as far as AEW go. I think All In's the best show they've ever done. All In this year.
It's probably the best wrestling show this year alone, to be honest.
I wouldn't go that far. WrestleMania still happened.
I thought that was great as well. Night one. Night two
was fun. Night two was fun.
Fuck you, Catherine.
See, we're pals again. But yeah, they just turned the corner. They just turned the corner with me. You know, Rio Ferdinand was saying Ollie's at the wheel, man, and I was like, yeah, it's turning round. We're getting this. And then All Out happens, and I'm like, oh no, it's the same children. It's the same childish stuff. We're not getting this great wrestling competitor that we were all waiting for. We're getting.
That's how wrestling's
sounds good to me. But yeah, we're getting more of this, and it was really disappointing for me. And of course, I'm not going to give up following AEW because every now and again they burn a house down and it looks ridiculous, and you want to watch that. You know, in terms of shock factor, that had more shock factor for me of like I want to see this. He burnt his house down. Why?
I like that, but like the burning of the house down because it's a symbol. Like just like Hangman, what's happened with him and Swerve is a symbol. The burn the house down is a symbol. Just
ironically, it's better symbolism than a bracelet with names on it.
Yeah, but I also like the fact that when I saw that being burnt down, I immediately thought, funnily enough, even though it was a horrible WrestleMania match because it didn't do them any justice, I thought it was unfair. I immediately went, you know what? I remember Randy Orton doing this to the Wyatts, and it was fun. And then I went back and thought, what else have I seen that's been a fight? Oh wait, yeah, Kane digging up 2 coffins and he set them both on fire, symbolizing of killing the graves of parents, which I kind of fucking enjoyed. I'm totally not a sick fucker in any way at all. But
so I've got one more question for you before we're gonna have to, you know, we'll call it here and let you get on to your bingo hall stuff.
It's 3 hours 7 minutes. To be honest, I'm just probably gonna be watching the show. I'm probably just gonna watch the show and say Joe Hendry will lose.
Fair, he deserves to as well. Bang average, but
he is going to if the whole if it's most yeah, he will.
But yeah, so the last question. Swerve's obviously potentially written off here. I'm not saying he hasn't signed his new deal. We know that he did because it was with that money that he bought the house, etc. Yeah. What I'm saying is when a wrestler does these matches, obviously Cody did flaming table stuff. But he didn't do barbed wire. He didn't do thumbtacks. Cody played it safe. He did ladder matches. He did tables matches. I think he did have a Texas Death match at a point, but it was very
He had tame. One, but he had one. And they also had the stupid chair shots with...
yeah. Was it Lance Archer had that with? Or it was the Texas Death match Andrade?
Both.
Oh, did he? Because he did... The Andrade one was the flaming table.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened in the Lance Archer one. It might have been a table again. But
he got ripped apart by Archer, put it that way.
Yeah, but Cody didn't do barbed wire though, did he? And he didn't do thumbtacks, and he didn't do bricks. He certainly didn't do bricks.
He's done thumbtacks once. He did thumbtacks. I'm pretty sure he used thumbtacks with Dustin, I think. He used thumbtacks with Dustin.
Maybe. That's rings a bell now.
Because that feud was incredible.
Yeah, so I guess like you get away with thumbtacks, I suppose, because they've been, you know, they're like WWE's like, whoa, they're like WWE's version of Glass, when you get
They
a
don't
thumbtack
generally.
spot.
You don't generally. I haven't really seen anyone do thumbtacks wrong as well. It's like it's always like the one protected weapon that always gets used right with thumbtacks. It's like they never get it wrong.
I feel like WWE used them sort of recently, but I don't remember who for. I feel like they did appear on WWE. I just don't remember who for.
I know they did do it recently in a match stipulation, but I can't remember. It was recent though. They did use thumbtacks quite recently. And no company does thumbtacks wrong. Like every company does thumbtacks right, because you get thumbtacks wrong, you're in serious trouble. Just ask Mick Foley.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I've imagined that. I thought it did happen though. Can't find it. I can't find it. Like, anyway, it might have happened. But so here, so I'll get to my question. Cody obviously did that.
Yeah.
I reckon that Ricky Starks is close to leaving the company. He never did barbed wire. He never did thumbtacks. When he was hardcore,
WrestleMania 22.
That's the last time. Okay, so there you go. That
was a fucking good match though.
Yeah, so I don't know why I thought WWE done it recently. I guess just it all blended for a moment, but no. So they haven't done it for a long time. But my question is, Ricky Stark's obviously avoiding the hardcore stuff. People think he's off to WWE. I think that's a great choice for him.
I think he's more suited to WWE style than
Cody Rhodes
directly.
Dodged it all, dodged most of it, found his way back to WWE. Ethan Page didn't do any of this. He's in WWE now. Sean Spears did an Anarchy at the Arena, and he wasn't like bladed to high water or anything.
He did do his vicious chair shots, which
he did do the chair shots,
which in any company there needs to be concerned. I don't like people defending unprotected chair shots from anyone. Company.
No. What I think chairs are like, they've been established in the WWE world. How he's using them is wrong. Like, shouldn't be done. But he didn't like set himself on fire. He didn't.
No.
Go for like the blood, the barbed wire, things like that. So now I'll get to the question. Do you think that when it comes to people from AEW and the contracts coming up, WWE are turned off to the idea that they could get Swerve Strickland back, or that they could get someone like Hangman Page? They could get someone, even if they could get Jon Moxley back. Do you think that now the idea that they've done these matches, do you think that closes that door?
No, I don't. But the reason why I don't think they do is because we have seen, especially from a Swerve perspective, where Swerve, they really dropped the ball with him. Like, they really lost out with Swerve, which for him especially is a shame, because Swerve carried that shit group. Like, he is genuinely so bloody good, and he's proven himself. Besides the barbaric matches, he's actually proved that he's a very good wrestler. That match with Danielson at All In really showed how good he is. Like, he is a fantastic wrestler. I think if he went back to WWE, the one thing he's doing well for himself in that way, funnily enough, is his platform, which is really good. Like his music, his social media sense of it, he's made himself available. So not only can he wrestle, but he's got what WWE have always wanted anyway. They want entertainers. They want that ilk. So I actually think, in a way, if he went back, he would be doing less of the barbaric stuff. He would still be doing the wrestling, but he would get to express that hip-hop rapper street style as well of who he is as a person behind the scenes and out with pro wrestling. I actually think he'd be fine. Hangman, I don't know. Not necessarily because I don't think he would, because he is AEW since day one. I just think Hangman doesn't fit in because who does Hangman actually work with? I don't think it's because he can't wrestle. It's purely who does Hangman work with, because in WWE, there's nobody that actually works to his style. I think it would be tricky unless they had a few other talents in there. I don't know who he would work with, except I think you would have to look at the NXT guys who were in AEW before, who are potentially move on to the main roster. I think that's harder. I think Hangman's hard as well. I think Ricky Starks is easy because Ricky Starks is just pure entertainment and he just loves about swagger and having a joke. He fits in right away. You could use him like how they use R-Truth, except much more entertaining, much better worker. And that's not me disparaging R-Truth. Like, R-Truth is just finished. Ricky Starks can just replace him, no bother. And you would actually get some good matches out of Ricky Starks as well. I think the hardest one is Hangman more than anything. I think that's really hard. Although, to be fair, I'd like him with Buckshot Logan Paul out of pro wrestling. But apart from that, I don't know. From a bigger perspective, I wouldn't mind seeing it one more time. Punk versus Hangman in a different environment. And we'll see really who is... The only reason I'm suggesting it is because I think the one thing that Hangman may not have understood at the time, and this is down to his own fault, I think, is he got so tailor-made with he wanted the best of the work with Punk. And you can tell that he really wanted that to work. He did try. It was that line that he dropped when he went with the whole workers' rights thing and all that. Yes, he is technically true. And he is technically right. Hangman was technically right that day. The problem is he went about it in the wrong way. He should have done what MJF did. He should have went to him and said, I want to use this against you in a promo. I want to tailor it into our feud instead of going off script. I like it when you do off script with a move or a spot in a match. Mm-hmm. But if you go off script in a promo, you could potentially jeopardize things, and they kind of did.
Yeah, and that's why I think CM Punk would never work with him if he went to WWE, because I think the only reason that Punk agrees to work that match is so he can shoot on him, and I genuinely think he would. I think it would be a hazy.
Maybe. I think we would see if he does or not. Actually, hold on. I've just thought. Yeah. There is actually one match that would be very interesting if Hangman ever went to WWE. I would book him against Santos Escobar.
Yeah, I was thinking that, funnily enough. He would, like, Santos Escobar was the name that I was like, I suppose that would work. The new SmackDown logo got leaked. All right, tell you what, we'll wrap this up. See if you can find the leak. We'll react to SmackDown.
It'll be on Twitter, 100%.
Who's on Twitter these days? Ugh.
To be honest, I'm getting bored. I'm getting bored with it, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can get it. 2 seconds. That's interesting. I have found that it's via WrestleVotes as well. I'm not sure if I like it, but it's kind of a throwback to the classic version in a way, but they've made it more brighter like the current version, so they've done a mixture of the two. A little bit old school with a little bit of modern. But this is the new logo. Well, potentially new logo that's been leaked. Just waiting for it. There we go. I don't know.
Oh!
It gives me the classic version, but with the way it's designed. It reminds me of the classic SmackDown. It's just the modern color. The first 30 minutes of SmackDown will be commercial free according to Nick Aldis. Why the first 30 minutes? Give me the first freaking hour. Yeah.
Because this man.
Speaking of that, before we do wrap up, that's something I want to ask you about. Not him,
Oh,
but
no.
something specific. What do you make of Raw going back to 2 hours only for the end of 2024? When I think they should do it, to be honest, I think they should do it permanently. I've said before, fuck the 3 hours, it's annoying. What do you think of 2 hour Raw going back to 2 hours? That was WWE's biggest mistake, going to 3 hours.
Well, I mean, it could be a trial, because obviously Netflix have paid, so now I don't know how Netflix works. I don't know if it's the case that, like, I thought it was the case that they had introduced tiers, and so there's now a tier that you can get with Netflix where you have ads, and there's a tier where you don't.
There is an ad version like that, yeah.
Right.
I don't know how it works.
So it will depend how that works. I'm wondering if it's a trial. But the other thing is,
because obviously I don't use Netflix or anything like that. I use my Fire Stick, but that's unless I'm watching
I don't
TNA,
think they're going to be able to do 3 hours of Raw on Netflix.
I think you'd lose interest on even on a streaming platform.
I think the issue you've got, okay, obviously you don't have the advertisers now, really. I mean, because the advertisers are paying to be on Netflix, right?
It's your revenue streams that could be impacted as well. Netflix really need Netflix have got an amazing revenue. They've got $35 billion revenue.
When you go to Netflix, it's about watch time, right?
Massive.
It works like YouTube and things like that. It's to do with watch time.
Your watch hours, are huge.
So they might see it as like, oh, the third hour is going to make us a lot of money. But obviously, the third hour only makes them so much money now because it's another hour with adverts in it.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Cody versus Solo is the opener for SmackDown. I forgot.
That's why I was doing that.
But it's not really worth it. Are you going to have a 50-minute steel cage just to get Roman out there and shaking his glove? I don't know.
Roman. He's gonna come from under the ring.
He comes through the ring and Hikuleo walks through the cage, and then Kevin Owens just stuns Rhodes after the steel cage. I don't know. Either I think he is turning.
Yeah, sure, Kevin Owens. I think it could vary its time, going 2 hours one way, 2 hours 30. Yeah, basically, I don't know. 2 to
2.5 isn't a bad idea. But
listen,
3 hours
they're not going to be able to do the 3 hours the way that it's done because of people paying for premium on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you pay for premium on Netflix and you don't get ads, they then have to decide, and it's going to have to be structured in a certain way. Because obviously, if Raw is going live on Netflix, and I don't think they're going to end the fact that they're live. I didn't even know you could be live on Netflix, quite frankly.
I've never seen it. I know Disney Plus has live, Paramount Plus has live, and so does Amazon.
Yeah, I didn't know channels. Netflix had live stuff. But basically, if it works how I think it's going to work, and you pay for an ad-free thing, is it going to be like Dynamite when you pay for Fight?
I think so.
And you're going to just get like the logo and the theme and stuff, or are they going to treat it like a PLE when they go ad break? And so instead of you getting ads for whatever is there, are you going to get those things that are like, I am Liv Morgan, here is my story, and you get like a 3.5 minute promo about Liv Morgan. Or like the one about Bianca Belair that was airing for ages. You know, like, is that what they're going to do? Because that's going to get. Let me tell you, that's going to get annoying.
I wonder if, to be fair though, yeah, that's a good point. What Catherine says, I bet if you pay for the ad free, you may get the packages. If you're smaller too, you get ads.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Could we also theoretically, could they not do it the way if you're watching an episode of Raw on the network? You're still watching it, but they will still incorporate where the ad breaks are, so they'll include the ads. I don't know what you're gonna get. I'm not sure. Me personally, I think it's a great deal getting Netflix, but I'm already saying I think it'll be a bust. That just makes no sense because they rely on these revenue streams. They've already got the amount of money Netflix make a year anyway is mental. $35 billion last year alone is incredible. It's due to be $42 million next year the way they're going. but these companies rely on the ads. Like Amazon still rely on these ads. Like Paramount Plus do, Disney Plus. They all, in any shape or form, are streaming. You rely
Could they do
on
it like Triller
that.
and just keep showing you what is going on in the ring? Yeah, but then these wrestlers have got to like
Keep
work
working.
the break, and the commentators got to keep calling it. Like it would be fine, but also not every break that they take has something happening in it.
Especially if you've got like.
So then is it going to be like Wrestle Kingdom where you're in between matches? So for 4 minutes you just look at an empty hall. Or not an empty hall, but you know what I mean? Like a hall with a bunch of fans in it, but like the empty ring. And like for 4 minutes you're just kind of like, what's going on here then? And then you get the screen that's like the next match. You're like, oh, right, okay.
I think I'd agree. I think the only problem is though is we know that WWE will put on a random dark match or something random in between. On Netflix, I don't think you can get away with it. I don't think you'll be able to get away with it on Netflix. I think the hardest thing for them is what they do. I'm interested to see how they do it. I'm just not sure. I don't like. I get it now. Like TV and business is a lot changing. Like, people's viewing times have gone these days. Like people don't watch 90-minute football matches anymore. They're pickpocketing. It's hard for people to even watch like a 3-hour movie nowadays because it doesn't interest them, or unless it's something they really like. I think you've got to really pick and choose. I don't know. I'm interested to see what they do, but I'm not sure.
And then the final last question, and literally just a one-name answer. Okay. Triple H has alluded to there being other things on tonight's show. It's obviously a network premiere for SmackDown, season premiere they call it. Ooh. Who is on the show as a surprise?
All right then, I'm willing to give you that. I'm willing to try a random guess just for the entertainment of myself. I would like to say it's Hikuleo. I really would like to say it's Hikuleo, but
Tola Tonga. Is that? Oh, please tell me that's what we're calling him.
That's apparently what they're going to call him.
Oh, please! That's so funny.
I would like for it to be Hikuleo. I really would, but I think it will be this guy when this thing wants to. Yep, Catherine's mentioned it. I think it'll be The Rock.
Oh.
And I don't just think it will be. I don't just think it will be The Rock on his own.
Okay.
I think you will see The Rock, Paul Heyman with him, and just for pure interest, Zilla Fatu.
Okay. Woohoo.
We don't need The Rock and Roman. Or should I say The Rock and his bench warmer. We don't need that. But I think Hikuleo is with Roman, though. Roman is 100%.
I think it's going to be Brock Lesnar.
We know that you don't think it's Lesnar.
It's a season premiere. We know what we do. We get Brock out.
Yeah, but Brock isn't in a world title match. So why
we get the broccoli out?
Premiere?
Because broccoli can come out and squash Grayson and Austin.
But are they going to bring him out because he's still not been seen anywhere in public after what happened with his favorite person? He's not been seen
anywhere in public. Perfect. Get him out there. Get the favorite person out there. Get my favorite wrestler out there.
Well, Gunther. Sorry, I meant Goldberg.
Oh right, I thought you meant John Moxley, but you once again just said the WWE equivalent.
I will admit, for a Bret Hart fan, I was laughing on Monday. That actually had me in stitches. As much as I love Bret Hart, I love light Bret Hart trolling with Goldberg because it's just pure ecstasy. Catherine says
anyway,
Brock is... No, her favorite wrestler is Rey Mysterio.
No! Don't take it seriously. Don't take it seriously. I hate Brock.
Let me put it in the nicest way possible. Eilidh is the sort of person who would drop a nuclear bomb hoping it kills Goldberg, and if it doesn't because he's a cockroach, she would then stand on him.
Not Goldberg, Brock Lesnar.
Sorry, Lesnar. Goldberg, she'd probably just tell me can't wrestle and then Goldberg will cry.
Here's my favourite of all time. Booyaka and all. It's Victory Road tonight, yeah?
Yeah. I'll try and watch some of SmackDown, but I won't watch it just so I can.
And you think you're gonna make it to Elite Four tonight, yeah?
Shut up.
I've been saving that joke for 3.5 hours.
I will grant the fact that you've used a Pokemon reference when I really want to stream Pokemon again, but that was expertly timed. I think it will be interesting, although my only concern is, and I'll stand by it, if Hendry loses tonight, then there is no point Nemeth losing the championship. If Hendry wins, then Nemeth must lose. They both, for me, link together. You can't have... Because I expect Joe Hendry, if he wins, he'll be in the main event at Bound for Glory for the world title. If he wins against Josh Alexander, then it has to be against Moose. If Moose does not win, then Nemeth must face Josh Alexander and then lose to Alexander. I'm quite intrigued to see what way they go. I'm not sure. I expect him to be in that match.
What happens if Hendry and Nemeth win? Would that then be the match?
I think it might end up being it, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be heel versus babyface. I think Nemeth versus Alexander. Actually, no, you can't. You've just had a 60-minute Iron Man match.
It's going to be Moose then, isn't it?
Probably. If it's Moose versus Hendry, you might get something. I don't know, but I don't know.
Well, in any case,
it'll be a good show though. It'll be a good show. I'll watch that and I'll watch some what I can of SmackDown.
Enjoy that. Remember, you need to know surf, strength, waterfall, rock smash, and probably rock climb as well. Listen, it depends which generation's Victory Road you're going through.
There's only one true generation, and that's the Gen 1 Victory Road because I had Moltres in it.
Victory Road's in everything up to Gen 6, right? And then it's not there.
Yeah. But the Gen 1...
Yeah.
Because the Gen 1 Victory Road will always be the best because it has Victory Roads.
Yeah, Generation 2 technically just steals Generation 1's.
And then makes it better by having Mount Silver after you beat the whole
thing.
Oh
yeah, Mount Silver.
So
I'm actually, you know that thing I said about like emulators and stuff? Well, I found a website. So on the TikTok, I've been streaming Emerald Randomizer.
Which is good.
The thing that's on the YouTube. I realized that the YouTube is like not going anywhere. So my primary platform is TikTok.
Yet. It will
It'll link.
Your TikTok will help with that.
It'll link all back in eventually. I'll deal with the multi-stream. I've just got to like be big enough first, and then I'll do the same stuff on like multiple platforms at the same time, which would be the plan. But yeah, as far as that goes, there's a website that you can use where you can just play a Pokemon Heart Gold randomizer.
Yeah,
and it's just on the website, and I didn't expect it to work, but there you go.
I've got a Soul Silver randomizer. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, as I say, I've got the Heart Gold one working anyway. It just works on a website.
Des Mumi.
Ah, okay. I see.
DESMUME. That's what I've got my Soul Silver randomizer on.
I think I tried to download that and then something happened. But then I found the website and it was cool anyway.
I'm going to get back to streaming Pokemon on my Twitch. I'm going to do that. I'll link in minute so we can do that at some point. And then when I get my gaming PC, because my card's officially in my name now, when I get my gaming PC, I'm going to be streaming Pokemon through that on my gaming PC. Bye-bye.
That's pretty sick. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I'm looking
sick.
for.
Right.
Yeah.
All good. Well, let's say enjoy Victory Road. Oh, you might need flash as well, depending. It might be dark.
Gem 1. But, all right.
Right. All good. Right. Well,
I'm a true Pokemon master.
Well,
yeah,
I will
great
catch you another time. But this has
Absolutely.
been a lot of fun.
It has been, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
think we should do a
thank
live
you.
stream watching a Man U game.
I've done plenty of those before New Japan killed my channel for putting up a video of Tanahashi doing a frog splash on, well, the sky high flow on fucking Speedball Mike Bailey. New Japan killed my channel. Cunts.
That's a torture stream, and really we should just ask the weekly armchair kickoff to do that.
I mean, to be fair, I did do a watch on for the Europa League final that De Gea, well, the penalty. So that was the worst 3 hours.
Fantastic, and I won't hear anything else said about him.
I know. I've got nothing against him.
Not only is he fantastic, but he is a sexy individual.
I can't comment. It's not my style, but he's a bear looking.
It's not even my style. As a lesbian, I can say that he is.
No, it's not my style.
He's
in general,
a sexy guy.
He's got a decent beard.
He's got that charisma, you know.
Mm.
Anyway, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the show.
I will. I'm actually getting.
Catch you later.
Absolutely.
Oh, and see you later, Catherine, and anyone else watching. Thanks for sticking it out to the end, including this, whatever the last 10 minutes was.
Peak entertainment.
Oh, and follow the TikTok. Another cheap plug. Quick. Where is it? Oh, I literally picked up a plug earlier. Where is it?
Just check out Princess 07, guys.
Yeah. Oh, it's just Princess Ales on TikTok. Princess Ales 7 is only Twitch. There's apparently 6 other ones of me on Twitch, but just standard Princess Ales on TikTok, and same on YouTube, where this is currently streaming there as well.
It is.
We'll see what people do with that, but yeah, enjoy your Impact show, and I'll catch you soon.
Hell yeah, we've got a lot.
A lot. Right, catch you. Button.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been incredible. 3 hours, 37 minutes. Thank you all for watching. I'm just going to quickly say that he may be a Scotsman, but I think Joe Hendry must lose tonight to Josh Alexander, because I think longevity-wise, you stick with a guy who's sticking around than somebody who could potentially be leaving, even though I love Joe Hendry. Catherine, thank you so much. You're an enjoyable person. Rach, who was here earlier on, thank you very much. Connor, Keen, the lot, thank you. Billy. But in the meantime, we're going to get out here because, again, we've been going 3 hours, 37 minutes. We were hoping for 3 hours and we went longer. So that's what we love about YouTube. We love this channel. So I'm going to bounce. But if you have enjoyed this, please do like, share, and subscribe. And get your comments in after the show for anything else you'd like to see. And next week, What If series begins. You heard me. End of. I will be doing some reviews, of course, over the weekend. But in the meantime, arrivederci.